Yes, I've heard of Ark. It just got launched on Epic Stores for free if you have it.
You know,
Oh, now I might get it for my computer now.
I've heard that there are actually some customer feedback issues with Epic, and also the fact that there's a game that's supposed to be an Epic Store exclusive. They're planning on launching it for free for the first 24 has never produced a game before.
Oh, I thought you were talking about EA for a second.
Well, the thing with EA is, one, they would never release one of their games for free for any amount of period of time. And, wait a minute, they've developed games before?
Well, it's in the game, and they used to actually try to do that. Then they stopped for some reason.
Alright, you fucking...
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of buffering on my end here.
Yeah.
Could just be Manicam's being a bitch
no, 65, 66%. For no fucking reason.
Blame it on Bernie, since that's the one that it's stopping on the stream here for me.
It's just with YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, Ark can.
No?
It definitely can get addicting.
There we go. Now it's up where it should be. Happy. See, sometimes you just gotta force a reconnection sometimes. Oh, don't you start doing that shit. Don't you start doing it. I will close you. I will call it a night early. I have no qualms doing that. It's been a long fucking week.
Right.
Well, no, it's 11 hours Monday, 11 hours Tuesday, 9 hours Wednesday, 13 hours Thursday, and just about a full day today.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of it was ping-ponging back and forth between a couple of customer sites.
Well, I was going to say, if it was just playing ping pong, I mean, that in and of itself would be pretty exhausting.
Well, it depends. Are you the ball or the paddle?
I'm okay with any paddle.
Okay. Are you trying to pull a Chesh and get the stream taken down for naughty content?
Uh-oh.
Oh.
What are you trying to kill there?
What are you doing?
Jay?
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything. I'm just taming a flying dinosaur.
He's gonna.
Are you playing on Scorched Earth?
He's gonna try to tame the dragon.
No.
You motherfucker.
Yeah.
You motherfucker, behave.
Oh.
It's running up to you like it wants to eat you, but then it stops.
I'm imprinting upon it because it's a hatchling.
Oh yeah, those.
You guys like... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh wow.
Hidden in a waterfall, so that's pretty cool. I now have a hidey hole if I need to.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
But did you have to diggy that hole?
No.
uses a dwarf and diggy hole. Yeah, trust me. We had fun playing Ark because someone tamed one of the giant gators, and we called him Mr. Bubbles.
Aw. There was actually a gator at the Coast Guard base over in Mobile, Alabama, and he was just kind of chilling near the base, and he would occasionally come out and come around base housing, and everybody kept an eye out for Stumpy because he was missing one foot. And my sister actually has his skull. When he did finally pass, they went ahead and she was able to get the skull from him. It's pretty cool.
No, you should have let the kids play around him just so that way, they can learn to improve their reflexes.
I mean, if it was up to me.
And that's a different type of reflexology.
Right.
Why the... And here's the thing. No, I'm... You know what? Just for shits and kicks, and I'm even going to show this on air. If it'll actually show on air.
I don't know. It's skipping frames pretty horribly on my side. Let me refresh.
Oh, yeah. No, it's not just you. Because it does not want to have a solid connection.
Boo.
Boom.
Now, here's the kick. 6,000K.
Yeah.
Yeah, my ping is at 5 milliseconds. My download's at about 50. And the upload...
I'm still waiting for it.
meg.
Sure.
There's
Yeah.
no reason there shouldn't be a good connection with YouTube. None whatsoever.
Yeah, that's weird.
Is the wife uploading porn in the other room?
No other devices.
Yeah. Nice.
And I'm hardwired in.
Oh, there goes my suggestion. Oh my god.
And even then, it took until just then for...
It's more pleasurable.
Again, it's not actually armed. I don't want it.
Well, yeah, at least shoot potatoes with it.
Right?
No. If it's going to
Potatoes.
look like that, it needs to go boom.
I mean, you could stick your head out of the hatch and pew 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 pew.
So, does anyone else want to kill? See that? No, that right.
What?
Nice.
Yeah, that's what I used to get with Verizon, with FiOS. Guess what? FiOS isn't available in this area.
I just
I'll
found it
avoid
expensive.
showing mine.
Oh, I know you have the dedicated T-line, motherfucker. Some of us
Well,
don't
anyway.
exactly have a company that's going to pony up the coin for that sort of connection straight to the house.
You guys like comic books?
Some of them.
Some of them.
Some are better than others.
That's
Depends on the
true.
comic book.
Okay. I would love your guys' opinion on this.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the question is, what video is it?
It is.
Hold on, I'm copying it right now.
Do you guys know who Patrick
There's-
Baboumian is?
Oh, here's a comic book to read.
No.
Read that comic book.
Oh my gosh, that's hysterical.
Wrong sound pad. I actually have it toned down too. Actually,
I've got the whole series for this one. It's actually a pretty good crossover.
Yeah, some of them are just really poorly written. Like, I understand there's fanfic, but then there's a special corner of fanfic that is just like, tone it down there, bub.
so I took the whole long section that I had, Jared, of the Spanish Inquisition,
Uh-oh.
pared it down to this.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
And if I really need to cut it short, and this one never leaves the sound pad ever.
Basic trigonometry.
Oh, well, why?
The only one it's not on is the Keras sound pad.
It might need to fix that.
Ring my bell to be a special subscriber.
So here's the interesting thing. There's the actual network connectivity.
And where am I supposed to be seeing this at?
On the live stream.
Oh, okay.
So I'll get it in about 2 hours.
Right.
Maybe a minute.
Just showed up.
Here you go. Here's another comic to read.
That would be an interesting one.
Right?
Yeah, it is quite interesting.
But yeah, you
No,
know,
I have a request for it. Okay, hold on.
on it as their ringtone, so you gotta go that extra mile.
Yeah. I have to change this. I have to actually change the input for this screen.
Mm.
And
Well,
close that.
well, we're gonna do something here in a moment, because these first 5 minutes has been fucking shitty as all hell.
I think Jessica G has it right. Are you using FTFE's internet connections? That's what she said.
No, she wants to smash something else,
Well, you know,
and this isn't
too
helping.
much on every day that ends in Y.
This ain't helping.
No, I know this is. Some people don't like this, but there's a crossover.
That's just no.
That-
No.
If it was going to be anywhere, it would be on Risa, okay?
Yeah, and not with a Kardashian.
True.
So
That didn't look like Ducat. I'm trying to figure which card.
No.
Probably not. I don't know which one that one. It's probably just a generic Kardashian.
It actually did look like the one who imprisoned
Looked like
Picard.
Yeah, I can't remember if that Kardashian had a name. The one played by David Warner, though. So.
Extra number one.
No.
Now you're going to make me Google it.
And just go complete.
wrong one.
Perfect.
Well, better timing on that one.
It's almost like I planned it.
Oh no! Here, someone did a Star Trek X-Men crossover.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's see. We got Ducat. We got Garrett.
Ducat and Gulmer said were played by the same actor.
Oh, okay.
Dunmar. Nasset. Seska. Oh, that was the chick.
Yeah, from Voyager.
Yeah. Enabron.
No.
Tora.
That was season 5, if I remember correctly, right?
Season 5.
Of Next Generation.
Mm,
It's either season 5 or season 6.
I think 6, maybe. Well, let's try 5 first. We're going to find
No,
out.
not 5. Because it's a 2-parter in the middle of the season. I know that much.
Mm,
Chain of Command,
Yeah.
okay. Chain of Command.
season 6.
Okay.
Gol Madrid.
Yeah, that's what it is. Okay. It would have bugged me if and And I love that one of the things that popped up when I'm in the search thing is, what nationality are the Cardassians?
What nationality are the Cardassians?
Well, people don't understand what one is versus the other.
So, Jessica G also makes a good comment. Back now, you guys are sliding around like more than I did playing Unreal Tournament 99 on a 56K.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm also trying to figure out why there's only 6 gig available on my C drive, seeing as how I moved damn near everything off of it.
Your temp directory probably needs to be wiped clean.
I just rebooted.
It doesn't clean itself out yet. C cleaner will work.
I have no. See, here's the thing: is I have everything moved off of it, and I have it actually programmed in to dump the temp files every time I reboot. Not when it goes to sleep, but when it actually reboots and restarts.
What about Windows Update directory?
Windows 10 upgrade shows 20 megabytes.
The only other thing I could think of is a program I run called, you probably heard it, Renovo Uninstaller.
No.
It's got a built-in, like kind of like a tool like CCleaner does, but it finds a lot more crap sometimes. And it's free to download too. Its primary function is to uninstall and dig deep into the registry to make sure all the registry keys are removed too. But it has a temp file remover as well.
So,
Hang on. Hey.
Yeah, it's just...
Reap. Hang on. Am I not muted? Hang on here. I gotta mute. I'm bouncing between applications. Bear with me.
Oh. Yeah, I got a memory buffer issue. Hang on.
Interesting.
Holy shit, it's staying green. I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's staying in the green, guys. I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. yeah, that's... Wow. And of course I had to say that now it's going orange and red, and you motherfucker. Get back green. Get back green or I'm gonna kick your ass. There we go. No. Don't play those games. Well, at least this time now the dropped frames aren't actually increasing like they were before, so yay! Oh, mother fucking shit. What do you... You're riding the dragon? This is supposed to be a family-friendly show. Why are you riding a dragon?
Should probably pull this down a bit.
I don't want to know what you're pulling. Oh, there we go. Now we can hear it. Oh, and there you go. There you go. You're making shit worse.
Sorry, earbud warning.
Oh, no. I'm just going to blame you. I'm just going to... Because why can't we have nice things? Well, because some people are just trying to do too goddamn much of what they have.
Well, that looks like a base over here, doesn't it?
There we go. Huh. So, yay. Wait a minute. Are you going back to World of Warships? Yeah. Now, here's a question for you there, Tech. Do they have the funky French one with the 3 turrets forward? I don't know if he can hear us. Or can you guys... You guys can't even hear me. What the fuck? Yeah, speakers. Maybe now you guys can hear me. The audience has been able to hear me.
Yep, now I can hear you.
Yeah, for some reason when I cleaned up everything and don't you dare do it, OBS. I will update you in a fucking heartbeat. Yeah, that's what I fucking thought, you cunt. Yeah, family-friendly language here? No, you're in the wrong place for that. But no, Tech, I was trying to ask you, do they have the, I think it was the French who designed it, with 3 super firing main turrets forward of the superstructure?
Yeah. It's in this game. I don't have it. I don't have any French vessels yet, really.
Well, I mean, why would anyone want the French vessels? I mean, all they're good at is turning away and surrendering. But, so, now that OBS is finally actually deciding to behave after only a half hour of fucking with it and everything else, you were a little slow on that, and I'm not going to go back and...
Blah, 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 blah.
I'm not going to go back and edit that stuff out. But something very interesting came out in the past... when did they release that? 2 days ago now?
Oh, are we talking about a specific spot in a city?
Yeah. Like, at first, we're seceding. All right, shut everything off. Well, we have demands. We're American citizens, but I thought you guys were seceding. Trying to have it both ways, huh? But, yeah, so for those who haven't been privy to a discussion thread that I have since muted because people don't know how to fucking read on Twitter. Shocking. I know.
Yeah, I think I've missed something.
Well, I pointed out to some people that the choice of saying to defund the police is a poor choice of words for what they are actually wanting to do. Because
I actually agree, yeah.
Because when you defund something, is it able to keep operating for a long period of time? No. Generally, when you defund something, you shut it down. As a matter of fact, the definition even says the definition of the word defund is prevent from collecting any funds.
Well, I think that there's a misunderstanding that they are looking at reducing the police from a military-esque state to it slowly be put more towards social aspects of it, of the community. So, for example, instead of having let's say 40,000 police in New York, if you can reduce that number of patrol officers and all of that stuff, and then instead of having people that have, say, a high school diploma, maybe if you require a degree and extra training, maybe specifically in, say, mental health and things like that, then you can kind of hopefully have de-escalation training and those types of things, so that way it's more effective community-based policing instead of it being
You mean
like
like
everybody's a criminal.
you mean like it was before people started saying fuck the law and fuck the police? Because there is another side to it. The police force nationwide, all the police departments nationwide have their own standards. There are some out there that do require the post-secondary education just to be considered. So for the there are people out there saying that, oh, all of them are just power-hungry idiots that are off the street that can go in and apply. Not every department.
I don't know. From a lot of the people that I have been speaking with that support the hashtag defund the police, do not think it's everyone. But you can acknowledge the fact that there are
there is need to be change
in there, right? And that there's also room for change, but also to demand the same thing to happen to the police that has been going on with our education system. Like, they have been systematically stripping programs away from our schools and education. And that's what they're talking about. They're talking about systematically stripping the funds from the police station, getting rid of loopholes. Like, there's a law where they can arrest you for a suspicion of, I don't know, let's say they think that you are money laundering.
Most departments can hold you for 24 hours before they have to charge you legally.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, like, there was a article about and I've seen this in different variations. So somebody gets pulled over for suspicion of whatever, they arrest you, but even if they think that the car was used in commission of a crime, they can take that
civil asset forfeiture. That's what you're talking about.
That's the word I was thinking. I was trying to think what it was called. And they can actually take your property. You can do absolutely nothing wrong. And that stuff, like the process to try to get your stuff back, if you get it back, it's insanity. And a lot of times they use that as extra income, because if it's never asked for, they'll sell it or auction it or use it and they actually have that built into their budget, which is absurd.
No, and that's where, yes, I agree that there needs to be reform on certain aspects, and that is one of them. And proper utilization of the force is another. But there's a flip side to it. If you look at a lot of the departments that have gotten too big for their britches, they didn't start out that way. They got bigger and stronger in response to what was going on in their community. There's a give and take. It's, yes, the police do need to be reevaluated and better utilized and gone through a cleaning process. I agree with that. But at the same time, you can't pin everything on the police force when there's a big old mirror that a lot of these people are willfully choosing to ignore.
Well, I think that it's not that they're choosing to ignore that it is a complex issue. A lot of them will say straight up that there is a bunch of different things that reasons for certain responses. Like it almost becomes a catch-22. They've There was an interesting TED talk that I was listening to about a person who all he does is study um, economics, but also the psychology behind poverty.
Mm-hmm.
And he specifically was looking at the various different cities that had attempted things like UBI. And they actually went and looked at they actually did studies where they had tests that they would do, and they would look at not only mental health, how their financial scores were, whether or not how the crime was in the area, how many people were going to secondary schools or getting business, starting their own businesses, things like that. And what they found, they actually looked at these communities of, say, like fishermen, that they make the bulk of their money like during one season, right? And then the rest of the season, if they don't, put their money aside, they're basically poor until fishing season comes around again, and then they're flush. And they looked at the spending habits of these fishermen and how they do, and how the community is affected by not just the poverty section, but also the when they're flush. And they found that with just looking at the brain, the psychology behind it, that the people that had the extra stress of the finances, and they saw a direct correlation to the increase of crime during the times of the poverty. You see an increase of bad decision making and things like that. So when you keep an entire community that doesn't have good schools, doesn't have, it basically has all of these like social, almost dehumanizing restrictions placed on them, but yet you tell them that the people that are poor are lazy, and that they're, that it's their fault, that they're the ones that are the violent ones, and that they're the ones that are causing all of these things. But if you look at it, it's a catch-22. It's not actually, you know yes, there is some self accountability, but we're in a really tough space because a everybody has like a story, right? And so everybody has the reasons why they make bad decisions, the reason why somebody might put everything on the line to do some illegal trafficking, because they don't know how they're going to feed their family and they need that money. I mean, those people do exist, and they are a product of, well, our society. We've done this to them.
Give and take there, because I do agree that there are external pressures that will influence decision making and choices that you make, and does affect the mindset you have when you're actually going through a situation and the way that stress can play off of you. But there's also, going into the deeper side of it, going into more of the history of it, what I've found rather interesting, and something that a lot of people really are almost afraid to consider and touch upon, is going back to the community aspect. When a lot of the changes were going on, if you look back at let's go back into the 50s and 60s. In the 50s, the minority groups of America were actually doing rather well in comparison. They were actually tracking along with um, the white majority in a lot of areas. But then, with the civil rights and the crackdown, and then a lot of the war on drugs and everything, and the glamorization of the single mother, and a de facto destruction of a proper home environment, that has been ignored ever since. It's almost like it's a badge of honor to be a single parent. No, surviving it and having a well-adjusted child from that situation, yes, that is a badge of honor, but it is not something to be strived for. I am a proponent of the idea that it does take a village to raise a child. It does take a unit to do it. One person who has to help raise the child from an emotional standpoint in the home, make sure to be their overseer when it comes to them going to school and everything, and be the breadwinner, and to keep the house in order. There are so many individual items that are stressful in their own right that when you start adding it up, there are going to be sacrifices made in that sort of situation, in that sort of environment. And yet, when you look at media and the mentality of it, it's people are lauded for being in that situation where it really is tough. You want to acknowledge the difficulty with it, but at the same time, you can do that without glamorizing it and giving off the impression that, oh, anyone can do it.
Yeah, I think that there's as I said, it is multifaceted issue, and I tend to agree because there is studies that show those that have longer life. They looked at the type of check boxes, right? Whether or not they have whether or not they're smokers, whether or not they exercise regularly, whether or not they eat a lot of red meat, whether or not they have big social circles, things like that. And I do think that, and the studies have actually shown that those that live longer lives that tend to have strong social circles. And I do think it is because you are, even if you have the same amount of stress, when you have extended family or a really close social circle where you can talk about things that are on your mind, you're able to handle that stress better. You have someone to knock ideas with, and you have that support if you need, call up dad and be like, hey, I need $50. And he's like, well, I don't really have it, but we'll figure something out, but something that takes a lot of that stress off of you. And that can really affect your mentality and things like that. And you have to think about these communities too, that they have so many things that make it so that it's tougher for them to even have a extended family or whatever. I'm a big fan of of big family units. My sister lives with me, even though I'm married, and because I believe.
Let's be a little more clear there and specific. A healthy family dynamic. That's
Absolutely.
what has been lacking from a lot of people. I'll even admit that my personal family dynamic has not been the greatest. There have been moments, but there were decisions that needed to be made as a result of things that were going on. So I recognize that no, just because family is there doesn't mean that they are effective or are a benefit
That's
to
true.
the overall situation going on.
I would agree.
But
But you also have to look at something else. There's also Trevor Noah said something very interesting. I love him to death, and he's hilarious. But he said it was so interesting when he first moved to America, and he was having a conversation with somebody at the show, and I guess he got pulled over again. And he's like, yeah, man, I've been pulled over like 8 times. 8 times. I'm like, that's insane. And his coworker was saying the same thing, was like, really, dude? He's like, you're not being hyperbolic? And he's like, no, dude, 8 times. And, you know, I mean, how many people do you know have been pulled over that many times?
I actually know a few, and it's because they drive like jackasses.
Well, I mean, this is
So yeah. Well, again,
I don't know his driving.
no, I understand that there are instances of the whole driving while black thing. I do.
Driving while black,
Yeah,
sleeping while black,
yeah. It's one of those.
harvesting while black.
I don't want people to even think that I'm saying that doesn't happen, but there are instances where that's not the only factor, because
For
because there are a lot of nuance to it, especially with what the police have been dealing with, and that's the issue, is they have a lot of shit that they've been dealing with, and
Absolutely. And we all know better because we have been through, well, a lot of us have been through a lot of that stuff. I had to do law enforcement training when I was in the Coast Guard, especially since we, you know, a lot of times we had to take a law enforcement type, what's the word, approach to certain things. I wasn't on a boarding team exactly, but we still had to be trained in certain aspects of it. I was stationed over at a police station for a while over in Trace and Petaluma.
Mhm.
So I like, we have an understanding about that, but when you literally have masses of white armed individuals storming into, you know, the city, and it's basically just a peaceful protest, but then you have unarmed, diverse people going into to do their own protest, and they're being shot with tear gas.
yeah,
It's just, there's a disparity there,
well,
and it's
yeah.
ingrained.
Well, and there's a lot of issues, especially because there were a lot of departments that went with a really stiff response to begin with because of what they've had in their history, and also what they were seeing had happened in other cities right before the protests were kicking off in their bit. So yeah, when you step back and look big picture, you can look back and see, I can see why the police wanted to have that stiff posture, but there is a there is a better way to do a lot of the things, and that's where a lot of people in that Twitter thread were getting me wrong, because by me wanting to correct them to make sure that they are accurately articulating what they actually wanted, they took it as me being, oh, I'm just a police bootlicker. And it's like, no. Go ahead and keep reading, asshole. You will see where I'm agreeing that, yes, change needs to happen, but in order for change to happen, you can't say, fuck you, you're fired, you're never working in your profession again, to someone who has never had a problem before. You're not gonna you're not going to win over a lot of people to your side and support when these decisions need to be made by saying, hey, you're a jackass, I'm going to bend you over and you're not going to like it, but you've got to take it because I'm right.
Yeah, there's sometimes there's a automatic, like, troll filter sometimes that I feel, because of how the internet is, sometimes people make assumptions of what you're trying to say instead of listening to what you say. And so they argue against a straw man of something they think that you're going to say next, and they miss the point.
I had someone end up blocking me because they went to my Twitter and looked through, and, oh, you said this about this situation earlier. I was like, really? Where? Where did I say that? So they copied the link to a post that I had done a couple months before, posted, and I was like, oh, did you even read that? Because where does it say that I'm saying that if you're supporting the police, you're victim blaming?
Right.
Here's a hint.
Yeah.
I didn't fucking say that ever.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, what is the actual tweet that we are referencing that started this conversation?
That started on mine.
Yes.
Something came up. I forget the original, but my original reply was to someone saying, defund the police the way that they, just like they have defunded education, welfare, and a whole bunch of other programs. To which I asked, it's like, so education doesn't get any more money or any he mentioned. I responded to, and someone tried to say that I was strawmanning what he said. No, motherfucker. The programs he mentioned are what I directly replied to. He said defunded. Defunded means no longer receiving funds.
Well, yeah, I think that is. I'm not a huge fan of defund the police because there is I think a misnomer to what that actually means. And in fact, I pulled up a meme. As soon as this conversation started, I pulled up a meme that I had already saved because I was going to do a blog about it because I really am not a fan of it. I like how it stands, but it basically, the very first line, and this pretty much gives it to you, defunding the police does not mean eliminate all police funding. Because certain people have certain preconceptions of the word defund, automatically a lot of centrists and even people on the left and the right are going to automatically think that means take away all funding. And I think that is detrimental to a very important message of what they really truly mean. And then the meme literally goes on and explains kind of what they want and what that word really means. Mm-hmm. And I just believe that there's a better way, a better
to communicate it.
I just don't know what that is right now.
Reduced funding.
Yeah,
straight up. Just call it what it is. Don't try to fluff it. Don't try to be fancy with the terminology. What actually, I will say, the majority of people want is not to defund. They want to reduce funding. And here's the thing. I even said that in the thread that people are ignoring. Yes. Yeah. And where I really really started just repeating myself to some people is just telling them, read more of the thread, read more of my responses, and they were outright refusing to. They were responding with that emotional base. And here's the thing, by saying reduce the funding, I agree. And in my post I said there are some people calling for complete abolition of the police. I did not say all people are. I said there are some people calling for it. And
there are, but a lot of people are concentrating on those people. And every time I see that this conversation is happening, everybody mentions there are some people that think this. And I think that's also not really that helpful because of the fact that the majority of people do not believe that. Most people want funding reduced, not completely eliminated. And so I think it hurts the conversation.
People in the middle are relatively reasonable, but there are absurd people on both extremities.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like when I saw that, like, for example, I saw that National Guard, officer, and he's like, just talking to the peaceful protesters saying, oh, everything's be fine, kind of showing some solidarity to him. There's people making comments that, they wanted to court-martial his ass.
Yeah, no.
Because he's acting like a reasonable officer.
Right, a human.
It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, right. See, and that's the problem, is that whole thing of trying to address a situation with rationality and reason has become such a foreign concept. And and by me, yes, I was being very matter-of-fact and direct. Well, there's a fucking character limit on Twitter. So
Yeah.
you kind of have to cut through the bullshit to actually get to that. And my whole thing was, say what you mean, not what you think everyone is going to understand you as meaning. And
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. It's one of the biggest problems that we have on having bite-sized conversations on social media, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, the comment section of YouTube. You're trying to have these important conversations because people are not having these conversations face to face right now, and because of that, or they're just having these conversations in their little comfortable little bubbles, and they're not pushing back against people who have very different views.
Oh yeah, I can talk about people not liking somebody pushing against their views. The tweet thread that I was sharing earlier was from a couple days ago, where Dead Kennedy was questioning Wade's Underworld's meme that he made himself, and it's like, I just want to know where you're getting your source information from for your opinion. That's all he was asking. He wasn't trying to invalidate his opinion. He wasn't trying to say that he's wrong. He just wants to know the source material.
Sure.
And everything that was presented to Dead Kennedy and myself was all biased opinion pieces. Now, I know that's not all that he bases it on. Dead Kennedy understands that as well. But when you're having your ideas challenged, you should present it, not get butthurt over it. Well, Wade's friend Bells Eden jumped in on us as well, and at the end of the thread, she was sharing Glenn Kirschner's video from a few days ago about how to deal with Trump post 2020 if he's not voted in, and that is to try and charge him, with crimes at that point, because that's when you could, in theory.
Well, here's a great idea. Here's a wonderful idea on how to deal with Trump if he is not reelected. Fucking ignore him.
Right.
Agreed.
Yep.
However, she didn't actually read any of my posts. She didn't read any of my threads, because if she had, when she brought it up, that I didn't have a problem with the video. I had a problem with the well, here, just let me share this really quick.
Sure.
So people were questioning when I came into the post, and I said it was when there was a link. This link here was posted to Kennedy by Wade, and it was broken. It was 404'd. So I was like, okay, here's the clip, or here's the link. And then after that, I jumped in like, but it's heavily biased.
Yeah.
So that just set everything off in the world. Well, as you can see here, I said the video Bell linked here is much better defense of the position than this, and this is the link that Twitter took. Okay.
Yep.
And your problem with that is, like, I'm criticizing the video. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, sorry. I'm laughing at this from chat. From Sean Carroll. I am direct, but my arguments require 1,000 characters at the bare minimum. Sean,
Right.
I understand, and I'm right there
Okay.
with
Like
you a lot of
that.
times. But then Anamorphic Mind asking Sean, how many expletives? Do you really want an answer to that one?
Yeah, I feel that. I ramble too much, both in my writing and when I'm talking. So I
Oh, yeah.
feel that hard. Go on a gazillion tangents.
Yeah. But I mean, if you actually go through that whole thread, you will see that Kennedy and I are trying to be reasonable. We're trying to actually have a conversation. Yeah, everybody else is jumping down our throats because how dare we question Trump is bad?
Right.
Neither one of us is saying Trump is good. We're just saying, why do you have this opinion?
Oh.
Maybe you could share something that I might not know. That's what I'm trying to get at.
I've said that so many times. I literally was just having a conversation with people on Facebook, and I'm constantly inserting myself into conversations. That's my thing. It's, a problem, but
It's a great way to pass the time.
but I find that's a great way to have these conversations, because most of the time, if I just waited for other people to come in on my things, I would never have any of these conversations. And so by seeing what they post, and I have a lot of people on my feed over on Facebook that are Trumpsters, that are woo peddlers and all of that stuff, because I initially got into my social media for my animal activism and stuff when I was doing the work with the rescues. And so a lot of the people added me for rescue stuff. They don't care about your political views or whatever else stuff that you post on there. And so I have a lot of people that I added on there. And so I'm constantly having these little micro conversations about economy and belief systems and all of those things. And so I'm constantly having to defend the same thing.
Well, and I find it interesting in that a lot of people don't realize that you can be critical of both sides of a situation. Like, one thing that really made me
Shut up.
laugh
No.
earlier. One of the new short-sighted idiots to that Twitter thread earlier today tried to say that I'm just being hyper partisan. Me. Yeah, to which my response was, yes, I'm so hyper partisan that I call everyone out on their shit. I say that both sides are fucking stupid, and I wanted to say can go choke on a dick, but too many of them would probably enjoy that.
Yeah, not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, come on.
No, but
as long as everybody's consenting.
Yeah, but it's the fact that I don't adhere to party lines. I don't play that bullshit. To coin a phrase from arguably one of the greatest TV shows that was on when it came to dealing with topics like this when I was growing up, homie, don't play that.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I right after Trump was elected, I had I started getting more political on my Facebook page, and I got a lot of shit for that too. But whatever. But it was the types of conversations I wanted to have were the ones where even the Trumpsters would walk away and say, "Hey, thanks for listening. You didn't automatically think I was an idiot." I said, "No, I want to understand why. To me, he's a horrible person, but you voted for him, and I want to know why. I want to know how you came to that. Like, what was your thought process?" Because if we don't understand how they get there, we can't understand how we can find ways to fix these solutions. Because we're
Can't
no
find the
longer,
common ground to discuss with.
Right, exactly. And that's what we need. We need to be able to talk about the best path forward for dealing with systematic racism. It's dealing with education and the fact that America has a terrible education system, and that's part of our problem. And then we have big ass corporations that we're basically subsidizing using our tax money because they're not paying living wages to their employees. And then basically they don't have to pay taxes, but then we're funding all of these food stamps recipients who are working full-time, working for those big corporations. There's so many different topics to have on here about that, and I can't have those conversations if the first thing I'm going to tell them is that they're just Trump idiots or whatever.
Or libtards on the opposite side type of situation.
Right,
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
think of how much better a lot of those. Think about how much better a lot of those programs would be if the corporate taxes were actually set up in a better, less loopholed way to where the income taxes didn't need to be as high, the personal taxes didn't need to be as high, and that, oh, I don't know, companies were actually doing that balance between making a profit and also contributing to society itself.
Yeah.
I think Carl needs to read this headline, by the way.
Oh, man on meth fights off 15 cops while jacking off.
Wait. Now read the bottom part here.
Is it possible to learn this power? And there's a little asterisk that says Florida man.
Well, it is a Florida man that the headline came from, but the proper response to Anakin in that is not from a Jedi.
No.
That knowledge is forbidden.
Wow.
Oh, you know who could teach you this power? Red's rhetoric. I mean, who is the Florida man? Big paper bag. You get what I mean?
Oh.
Absolutely, that's fabulous. I love
As
it.
soon as I saw that paper bag gif, I was like, oh god, I have to share this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I must find a way to use this and do it. Do it.
You know what's sad though is Red didn't come in and like it though. I mean, come on now.
Give it time. Give it time.
Right?
I know he's been playing with his new mount a little too much, I think.
Well, I think the mount has been manufactured. It still needs to be powder coated and shipped to him or delivered. However, it's getting there.
I thought it was on its way. Last I heard.
No, well, the picture I saw was right after it was manufactured, and Red shared that, and it still needed to be powder coated. Because it's going to be out in the weather. You don't want bare metal doing that.
No. I really want I want Astronomy Life's camera, by the way. That Black Magic cinema camera 4K.
Does Jay Brown have camera envy?
On June 11th, Red Redix, I can confirm that my new bracket has been shipped.
Ah, so it is en route now. Okay.
Yeah, that was during your like 30-hour day yesterday.
Oh yeah. Thankfully, you know what? I was trying to get today to be maybe a 6-hour day. That didn't exactly work.
You got it to 4?
No, other direction. It ended up being just shy of 8-hour day.
Yeah, since my work doesn't want to pay overtime, I get the joy of, yep, you're working 4 hours, you're done at 4 hours.
No matter what. Hey, you know? And see, that's the thing is, I could have gotten away with not going into the office at all today because I was over 40 to start the day. But I figured, you know what? No, I need to catch up on a few things. Let me go sit in the office and actually do it that way and help out in the test area if they need it for a little bit. And then a call came in from a customer. Oh, you're gonna love this one. This customer is relocating a lot of production lines from one building to another of theirs, literally across the street and down the road about a block. So one of the machines that recently got relocated, they went to go test it. They hooked it up to power. They turned it on. It didn't move. It did not run. It didn't do what it was supposed to. They removed power, opened the door to the control segment. Guess what they didn't find?
I'm afraid to ask.
Right,
So,
me too.
so every motor...
The actual motors?
No, the motor was there. It's kind of hard to miss the motor. But the drive that controls the motor wasn't just shut off, wasn't just disconnected. Motherfucker was completely removed. And the wires just left there. How the fuck they turned on 480 volt power into that thing and it not arc and blow something up is beyond me. I didn't know they had cloaking devices in World of Warships.
Smokescreen.
I was gonna say I thought I heard the definitive impacts of World of Warships there. Now my question is, are you playing on an account you don't mind giving out publicly?
I don't care.
I play World of Warships now, so yeah.
So anyways, back to everything that's going on. That whole thing just really got me the wrong way. How I could clearly state something, how I could repeat myself. No, this is what I'm saying. Yes, I'm agreeing with you on these points. I'm just saying you need to be better at saying what you actually want and mean.
I agree. As I said, I feel like we almost have to relearn how to communicate, because it's like, and not just that, but also reasoning and critical thinking is so important. I cannot tell you how many times I have had to say, no, please reread what I wrote and tell me in your own words what you think I'm saying. And it's something completely different, because they're getting past you.
Yeah, where is that?
Royal Air Force Station Luton. Where's Alan when we need him for confirmation of locations?
I would make a pilgrimage to that in a fucking heartbeat if I could.
Give me a minute. I'll confirm on Google Earth.
I don't know. I'm on the 2-week PPO. You're but stuck at one location for 2 weeks, and by the way, you're working 24 hours. Kind of jobs.
24 on. How much off?
None. I'm on for 2 weeks straight, 24 hours a day.
What?
So I literally sleep at my job site right now. The good thing is that the woman that I'm protecting gives me really good food. So yeah, I'm gonna get really fat really quick. Probably have another heart attack by the time this is done.
Oh, Sean Carroll, thank you for that, because there are times I have had disagreements with delivery of things with Greater Sapien, but that is arguably the best way to say it. Critical thinking is important because common sense is not.
Yeah.
I mean,
hard agree.
And why is it that so many people want to appeal to common sense that don't have it themselves?
Well, I think that they assume that they are, and that they don't understand that what we think of as common sense isn't really a common sense. It is developed over the years. It is from our experiences, from our education that we've had. From
common sense comes from critical thinking. If people don't actively work on their critical thinking, then they don't have the common sense to share with society. This is why we have things where they might seem simple and common sense to everybody, but there are things that are a little bit higher that should be just as much common sense.
Well, it's just like when here's a good example of common sense, right? And maybe I'm incorrect on this, but I like to use this as an example. You give a young toddler an iPad, and they figure out how to be able to look and swipe and do all of those things, right? And it's much quicker than, say, someone who is an elder person who has grown up with a whole bunch of different technologies and things like that. And so it's what seems to be easy, so easy that a toddler can do it. If you don't have the frame of reference, then you're not going to be able to. You're not going to react the same way. It's not going to be as easy.
Well,
And those are super cute.
yeah, well, that
Sidebar.
and there's also the neuroplasticity side of it. The younger a brain is, the more malleable it is, which is both a good and bad thing. It's easier to learn things when you're younger than it is as you age, and it comes down to just what we understand of the structure of the brain is currently. And when you think about it that way, the majority of people who are actually effective and can be considered fluent speakers of multiple languages, a majority of them have in common one thing: they started young. And part of that, some of it is ability and how reflexive someone's brain is to learning and adapting and gaining new information. But then there's also that other pesky little bit of it of available time. You have less of it as you get older.
Yeah.
And
I think that. By the way, I shared a meme on the Discord too that is really funny, but it might not be safe for showing on the stream.
Let's see. Wow. No, I'm looking at the one that Jay just shared. And you know what? Let's piss off some motherfuckers. Show that one, Jay, while I take a look at the other one.
Okay. I know Disney just bought Fox, but I've seen a trending on Twitter thing going on here that kind of scares me. Apparently Disney is firing Tucker Carlson.
Good.
See, and this goes to a question that came up in the live chat earlier, that with the way the conversation was going, my apologies, Jessica didn't really have time to address it right away, but what the fuck is it with all these people trying to virtue signal?
I think it's a natural response to wanting to be part of the, in-group versus out-group. And so they want to make sure that the people that they feel is part of their collective in-group knows how they feel on these certain matters, and that it could hurt them if they stay silent.
So I'm not saying be silent. I'm saying there's a different way to do it that doesn't come off as blatant trying to capitalize on the situation. And this is where I will give Sanders credit. Early on in his career, back in the 60s and 70s, he did it right. He did what he thought was right for the situation. He did not do it for the notoriety. Granted, he keeps mentioning it after the fact and retroactively wanting to capitalize on it, but I see that more as a symptom of the current situation of how both politics is and society is in general, that those politics are a result of. So, still give him a little bit of a side eye, but...
Well, part of that, I think that's just his response to, him just being characterized as the old white guy.
That too.
Yeah.
And I will give him that, is that a lot of people who try to play that trope against him don't realize his history.
It's just a demonstration that, he was doing this before these people making that comment were even born. So.
Exactly. And that he's been consistent with his legislation that supports and puts forward and things like that, which I think says a lot more. He's more action than just talking.
Well, it's one of those things.
He's as advertised.
Absolutely.
That is exactly it. With Sanders, you know what you're going to get if you actually take a look at what he's presenting. You're not going to be surprised by what he comes out with, what he says, or what he does. The only people who are surprised are people who quite literally have not been paying attention to him.
I look at me. He's like basically a left-wing version of like Fred Thompson. I didn't agree politically a lot of times with Fred Thompson, but he was as advertised. He was a straight shooter. He didn't,
You can give a nod towards certain people that you might not agree with wholeheartedly, but I mean there is something admirable to people that are exactly what they say they are. And we should give credit to where credit's due, because it's one thing to have, like, it's the devil you know or the devil you don't know, that type mentality. Yeah. So I would rather know exactly what your intentions are and why you're doing things than not.
If that was your character, regardless of your political opinion, if that was everybody's character, it would be great.
Yeah, I mean, like, we have a different. Some people were arguing about the difference between Trump and Pence, and I think it's if you give Trump any credit, is he's exactly how. I mean, he's very straightforward. He'll tell you exactly what he did, even if it's illegal.
Well, that there is that aspect of people who are surprised by Trump, again, obviously weren't paying attention. But I have to agree with Anamorphic Mind from the chat. We should bring back Ross Perot, especially his graphs. You know, and here's the thing. I remember in middle school when that election year, I was in middle school, and my teachers made it a point for us to actually look into the candidates, actually look at what their platform is, and then make a decision. Don't just go off of what you're hearing. What is it they're supporting, and what of the platforms do you agree with? And out of what ended up being the three major candidates, which is being kind to Perot's campaign at that point, Perot was the one that I sided with, because he's making sense. He's not just speaking emotionally. He's actually crafted a plan for the financial health of the country, not just certain groups, but the entire fucking country.
It's so funny that you say that, because I literally told my mom and dad that I wanted to go campaign for him.
Well, here's the thing: is that was the first election that I could vote in, and I voted for A03 Perot. Okay, and it
Same
was
here. Yeah.
He did have a plan, and he did have an idea that would cover everybody, not just a select group. What we have now is we have pandering to select groups.
Yeah.
Right.
The lobbying is out of control.
A lot of, what I found is that a lot of people that supported A03 Perot supported Trump. Okay? Especially out of my high school. Everybody that was eligible to vote that year that voted for A03 Perot ended up voting for Trump.
I think I know why. Because a lot of the perception of Trump at the time was that he is such an apolitical figure that he would shake shit up in a way that was going to be beneficial. Whoopsie!
Yeah, I heard that argument so much. I was rolling my eyes the entire time, and I was just like, the most frustrating part about it is I could see what they are talking about, but I also have seen all of his failed businesses and ventures that didn't go well. And I'm like, how can anybody look at this con man and think that he's going to fix a broken system?
Wait a second. Let me ask the question. Would you call Thomas Edison a con man?
I don't know enough about Thomas Edison.
Well, I know where you wish is going with that. Is oftentimes all it takes is one or two successes to be seen as a success. Edison failed far more at his endeavors than he ever succeeded. But what is he recognized as?
An inventor.
Yeah, as a success.
I'm talking about like actual cons though, like his Trump University and things like that. His charities have been sued for like literally ripping people off. And so that's what I'm referring to. I'm not referring to the fact that he's done things and it didn't quite work out. It's literally con people.
Okay, let me ask the question then. Who was in charge of Trump University?
No idea.
It was not Trump. Trump's name was attached to it, but it wasn't.
And that is the problem as a business person, as a public figure like that, putting your name to anything.
Yeah.
Because when your name is on it, the association with that name, especially when your name is in the fucking title of the place, who's going to get the blame if there's something going wrong with it?
Absolutely.
I can forgive the people that voted for Trump the first time.
Yeah. Many of which were
That's all I'll just leave it at that. I can forgive the people.
Oh God.
Right.
Oh God. Anamorphic Mind, it really does have a great point with this though too. How do you bankrupt a casino 4 times?
Right.
That's very okay. Bankrupting a casino 4 times is very easy, and here's how you do it.
You just don't pay the mob.
Right.
It's even easier than that, Jay Brown. Okay? It is this. You use it as collateral for another endeavor, and that other endeavor, what you thought would be successful, ends up not being successful.
Yeah, it's the shell game. It's the financial shell game that a lot of conglomerates try to do. Oh, we're going to shift all our losses under this one company when it's actually being accrued elsewhere. And here's the problem with that. You do that too much and you get caught. That is a prison charge. Not just for...
No, it's not. It depends upon how that game was played to begin with and what your intentions were with it. Okay? Were they criminal? Okay. If your intentions were not criminal, no, it's not a prison sentence. Okay?
Well, sometimes it is. I mean, you can't claim ignorance of the law.
Sometimes it is, but for the majority of time, it isn't. Okay? This is the reason, and this is why it's not. Okay? Is that ultimately all the debts that were accrued to that one casino were paid off. Okay? Therefore, there was no criminal intent to lose that money. Okay? There never was, but people look at it like, well, it was Donald Trump, and he had no intent of ever paying that money back.
Well, here's
that was the thing about the bankruptcy was that yes, he got protection from the creditors, but that was only against the interest that he was going to have to pay to them. It was not against the original notes.
Well, so here's another thing to look at it that adds another wrinkle to that sort of fiduciary fuckery that can take place. When you shift your...
Oh, hi, Karis.
What was that, Karis?
I said that is the best phrase ever.
When you do that too much, it brings a light on you because the question inevitably comes up. Why are you shifting these profit and losses between companies in your accounting? And oftentimes, like the majority of the time it's done, it's to make one company look to be healthier than it actually is, and that is illegal.
Well, and it's like his Trump also had like $2 million to 8 charities, and basically he had to pay like $2 million to 8 different charities because he misused his own charity foundation. I mean, it's a list of a whole bunch of different things, and when everything is like similar actions, you have a fraud, Trump celebrity apprentice tape subject to deal and fraud case, multiple fraud cases that pop up over and over and over again.
Yeah, and again, this is me being me. I will throw shade at the other fucking side too. The Clinton Foundation was horrendous at the way it would fuck with shit.
Absolutely.
Especially the whole they can try to say it wasn't pay for play, but tell me, how does someone with no history in government, no history in any elected office, no history anywhere of any kind of position makes a large donation, and then a couple of months later they're nominated for a big committee position?
Isn't that interesting? Yeah, I think that one of my biggest things is I want people to be consistent. Be consistent. Whatever your morals and ethics are, just be consistent with it. I'm one to look at things and be like, okay, well, I agree that because they want to do whataboutisms. Well, what about when such and such did this? What about the Clinton Foundation? What about Obama when he did this? What about Bush when he went and did this? It's like, you can think it is okay for you to think that all of those things are bad.
Yeah.
But the subject matter is this guy's a con man.
Well, I wouldn't go so far to outright call Trump a con man, but he's sleazy.
Yeah, he's sleazy. He's sleazy, greasy, well, that's what confidence men do. They are, they are like patting you on the back and
they
being
flirt the
all,
line.
Yeah, that's a very good way of putting it. Flirting the line and having a charismatic personality to hide what they're doing behind your back.
Uh-oh, what are you getting ready, Jay?
I'm debating on which Mel Brooks movie I need to rip onto my computer next.
Oh,
nice.
I've already done Blazing Saddles. I've already
Okay.
done Young Frankenstein.
Okay.
I haven't done Silent Movie or High Anxiety or 12 Chairs. I think those are the only three I have not done yet. Oh no, I haven't done To Be or Not to Be. But I have done History of the World Part 1. I've done Spaceballs, and I've done Robin Hood Men in Tights.
We have puppy dreams.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, so...
Speaking of puppy dreams, Logical let Scout sleep on the bed last night.
Look at that.
Oh boy. I knew he was going to be in trouble when he got that dog.
As somebody who has 3 little dogs sleeping on his bed every night, I won't be making that mistake again.
Oh no, you got the 3 doing it. You're going to have to wait till all 3 have...
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Got to start over fresh if you don't want it to happen.
I had 4 at one point.
No.
You gotta do puppies.
Oh.
Actually, our roommate actually has kittens or cats actually now. So,
well, I kind of got puppied out, and yes, it can happen.
Oh yeah.
But the reason why is because for a while there, the other half and I were actually breeding purebred labs, and some people didn't like us because we made them sign a contract, an enforceable contract, about how essentially the best way to put it was the lifestyle that the pet was going to mattered more to us than anything we got to offset the time and energy that went into making sure it was a healthy litter. And yeah, you kind of get puppied out after 2 months of anywhere from 6 to 12 puppies per litter making a mess everywhere.
Yeah. And I mean, for us, we're big advocates of rescue. So for us, it would be, if I knew you while you were breeding, I probably would have been like, hey, let's grab some lab puppies from the rescue that need homes.
Here's saying, my wife was a big rescue person for a while too, but she came to the middle ground, and here's why.
Okay.
There, think about the unknown risk with a rescue animal. There, there are a number of them that are coming from an abuse situation that if you do not know how to handle that situation, you being an experienced and being trained in a trainer, you recognize the animal behavior. Regular person on the street doesn't. So they rescue a dog. They're uneducated, unknowing, bringing this unknown into their home with a child, or they can go to a reputable breeder that's not just doing a mill, that's not just doing it for money and profit, where you actually get to meet the parents of the litter. If you do it long enough far enough in advance, you would get to meet the mother and father to see the temperament and build and size that the puppy is coming from. So you can actually make an informed decision. Is this personality of dog going to fit into our family dynamic? We
Yeah, we hear that a lot, but the problem is that you can find rescues that are young enough that and that have not had those type situations. A lot of rescues are owner surrenders, and they are, or they could be because their owner passed away. Could be because somebody is moving out of state, and so yes, there are cases of severe abuse. In fact, one of my dogs, Arma, she was found outside in a cemetery with her brother, and she has severe separation anxiety, but also she's scared of any really big dudes while we're walking. She was scared of a garden hose. Like, we had a garden hose coiled up, and that was brand new, and we put it out there, and she thought it was a snake or something. Like, silly bones. But so it does happen. But one of the things that we do with the rescue is we look at the behavior. We do assessments as soon as they come in. They get, and if they are from an abusive type background, or if there's a big question because we're not sure, then that's when the rescue should take it to a behavior specialist so that they can make sure that they are safe around children. A lot of times, if we have a big question mark and we're not sure, we will tell people this dog may not be good with children. So that is something for you to consider. And we work on matching the person with the animal and the animal to the family and the family dynamics, and not just, oh, you want this dog? Here you go. That's not how it works.
Well, and again, that's where you can have breeders doing that as well. That's what we did. We actually a couple times had we met the families, talked with them, got our read of them, and got them to be honest with us of the lifestyle that they were looking for, that they already had, and that they wanted to bring a dog into. They loved the look of my girl Ash, but we outright told them, you are not going to do well with a puppy from her because she and her kids are too high energy. You want a more, your family is more lower key. You want a more go with the flow type of dog. You're going to want from one of these pairings instead. And once they finally listened to us, we ended up getting messages just a couple months later after they finally took the pup home saying, it not exactly, but breaking down to, holy shit, you were right. So glad we listened. And not every breeder does that. Not every rescue does that. And that's where it's finding that right environment and the people who actually care enough to tell you no.
Yeah. I can't tell you how right now I'm fostering most of my animals that I foster right now are rabbits, and I have a French Angora as my foster. French Angoras are fabulous, but they have big, luscious,
Big attitude.
long hair, and yes, they are very high strung, and they can be little divas, but you have to literally brush them every day. We have to comb them every day. You cannot miss a day. There's no day off. Like every day. Like I can't tell you how many applications I've gotten for her that have no experience with a long hair breed rabbit and don't even have a setup ready for her, have no idea what they're doing with it. And I'm like, this is not a beginner's bunny.
No.
This is not a beginner's.
No, it's like it's like a Persian cat. Same thing. They have to be brushed, and when we say brush, we don't mean just like a regular surface brush like what a lot of humans can get away with. No, you need to get a comb, and you need to get down to the skin to make sure there's no knots and tangles all the way down.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a reason why our Persian is kept in a comb cup most of the year.
Yeah. I shave. I named her Miss Floofer because she's so floofy. But I shave her down most of the time so she looks like a lamb that's been sheared. It's adorable, and she looks like she's wearing lamb PJs, but it's also much easier to keep up with.
Yeah, and it's interesting when you get into that whole aspect of it. And I just have to say, it's kind of funny how in the title of the show, in the description, I make comments about how do you prefer, what's your preferred method of unwinding, and mentioning how many cases of beer that I've gone through this week alone. And yet here we are. We started out with fucked up technical issues to start the show, then a hot button political issue, and now animals.
Animal warfare, yeah. I mean, why not? Like, I think that's how I unwind. I unwind by arguing and having conversations about things that people, normally stay away from.
You guys just saw how I unwind.
We cover a variety of topics on this show, I've kind of noticed. We go from flat Earth to what the fuck are you doing to yeah.
And the great part about when you get a group of say veterans together, a lot of times you have certain things that you agree with, but it's so interesting because we are such a diverse crowd that we do have different perspectives, and it's easy to be outside of your little echo chamber whenever you're able to bring together a big group of people.
Yep. And with that, I agree.
Oh, Sean Carroll. I tend to be a fan of terrier breeds. I like a smart, high-energy dog.
What's that dog from the Thingamabob? The PBS show. I forgot what it is. It's got that little terrier.
It doesn't really narrow it down for me, but I was gonna say that.
Are you talking about Wishbone?
Wishbone?
Yes, Wishbone. Thank you, Curtis.
Story, Wishbone. That's my jam, y'all.
Not familiar with it, but terriers are tough.
I was a kid once, Chad.
Yeah. Well, terriers are tough to the point where my wife hates Jack Russells. A pack of Jack Russells attacked her car at one point.
Oh my
It was before we. It was before we met. She was doing work as a trainer and dog sitter and everything, and she drove up to this one house that she had been there before, and a pack of Jack Russells, yapping their head off, surrounded her car, and she could not leave her car. Honked the horn, tried to roll. The dogs would just step back just enough to not get run over, but that was it.
Wow.
That is the problem with a smart dog, is they know how to deal with stuff like that. Just like the only time we've seen a dog actually be vindictive, a poodle.
Oh, they're smart dogs.
No.
Extreme.
Got the little tongue sticking out.
It can be, and here's the thing about poodles is nobody realizes
They're
for
so
as,
smart.
for as cute as they are so smart they can be vindictive in different ways other than biting you.
Oh.
My
What?
dog lies to me all the time. Like, all the time. Like, I
I'm
will
starving!
my
You just
husband
fucking ate!
will
I'm
go to feed the
starving!
dog. And then she'll come by, like an hour later or half hour later, I'll come home or whatever, and then she's ruined at me. Like, she's starving. Like, we don't feed her and she got a big old belly. I'm like, you're such a liar.
Yeah,
let's see.
I have to say, it was kind of funny and a little scary at the same time hearing this story about when my wife was a manager at a doggy daycare. There was a big boisterous dog that just did not get along with this poodle that was there. The poodle waited for the other dog to leave and go into a common play area, went over to where that dog's bed was, waited, ripped it apart, took a shit on it, and then left.
Yeah, that sounds like something my sister's dog would do. He literally, when he first got here, he had, of course, she had moved from California to here, and when they were in California, she had to stay with my older sister for a little bit, who has basically, she was forced to keep her dog in a kennel the entire time while she was there temporarily getting everything ready to go. And that was really stressful for a, now 10 or 11-year-old dog. He's a little Boston Terrier. And he literally, when he first got here, he would go up onto the bed. He would wait until you would get where you're about to walk into the door, and then he'll just start pissing right on the bed. He'll wait. You could see him wait for the door to open, and that's when he'll start.
And you're walking into the room and you're like, don't you dare do it.
Right.
Don't you do it.
I see you thinking about it. Don't you dare.
Lifts his leg slowly, and you're like, you mother.
Well, you guys have heard Jeff Dunham's story about his ex-wife and their Chihuahua. Him and his ex-wife would get into a fight. He'd get up to leave to go for his next gig, and she'd wake up that morning. Her head would be covered in piss because the Chihuahua would go and piss on her head.
There's the other story where it's kind of sad that their relationship didn't work in the long run, because you get a moment like this, and this probably had something to do with it, where, so at the time, or when he started hitting it big, he had a original H1 Hummer. His wife had a Prius. Not just a Prius, a blue Prius. And by blue Prius, we mean blue Prius.
Powder blue.
And, well, had to go pick up the Prius from the shop, and when it comes to driving home, the wife drove the Hummer. And she called him, laughing, because, look at you! You're driving a Prius with a Chihuahua!
I love Jeff Dunham. He is hilarious.
One of the few newer comedians that is actually funny.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed.
That's when he had the That's when he had the Hummer too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then he went and filled it up with gas and pushed it back home and said, "Here's a new lawn ornament."
Oh, God, because he was living in California at the time, and that thing has, what, a 35 gallon tank?
Mm-hmm.
At about 5 miles to the gallon.
Right, I was gonna say, how many miles a gallon? 2.
No, you're thinking of a Dodge pickup.
Gotcha. Sorry.
Shit
stand
you,
corrected.
shit you
Dodge
not. One of my
pickups do not-
instructors in A
Dodge
school.
pickups do not get 2 miles a gallon.
Bullshit,
that?
they don't.
I
You get
owned
1.5.
I owned a Dodge Dakota pickup truck. It did not get 2 miles a gallon. It got 26.
Oh,
26.
wait a minute. The Dakota, what year?
04.
Yeah, before they revamped it. They made the Dakota bigger, and its fuel economy went down through the tank. And here's the thing: that same vintage, I'm actually referring to the real truck, the big truck, which 2 to 14. Shit you not! I had an instructor in A school who had a full size truck, and I was like, "Why do you have this?" He's like, "Yeah, I wanted it." It's like, "Yeah, but what's the catch?" He's like, "Oh, you want to see the catch?" There was a instrument cluster right above the rear view. He hit a button on it twice, and the active fuel miles per gallon came up 7.1 as we were driving at city speed.
I believe it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's where
What year was that, Jared?
that was an 03. It was brand new. 03 Ram.
2,500 gas?
Probably.
Okay, that explains it. The 2,500 diesels don't get below, in 01 through 08, 2,500 diesel doesn't get below 9.
Well, yeah, that's a diesel. Diesel engines are always more efficient than a unleaded.
And for the current Dakotas, it depends. Well, actually, it goes back to their original manufacturer. It depends upon what size of engine you have in it. You either get the 3.7 V6 or you get the big block V8. The big block V8 will eat more gas. Yes, always has. Right? And yes, I am aware of the revamp for the Dakota. And yes, the V8 does suck tremendously more gas. But the V6s are still rather efficient even for the vehicle weight.
For what they are, yes. But here's the thing. I'll still take my sedan that I get 47 and it's not a hybrid.
Well, here's the funny thing is that I drove my Hyundai.
Or I can just hop on the bike and get over 50.
Yeah, well, you know what? If I had a bike and could get over 50, I'd kill to have that. I'd have killed to have that the other day when I drove down from Missouri back to Texas. So yeah.
I know. I went around. I've had a good couple hour long therapy session where I was not easy on the throttle, and I still didn't even use half a tank.
That is the best feeling.
Yeah, especially when I find it.
Because the bike that I did have this time last year is a pile of scrap metal.
Well, let the class know what happened to it again.
The plant manager at the Arlington plant ran over it when my nephew took it to work one night. Yeah.
Yeah,
I still have yet to replace that bike, but that is the ambition, is that I replace that bike, because when I was actually on that bike, I wasn't stressing and I wasn't having chest pains.
Well, I was going to say, when is your doctor actually going to sign off on you being able to do that? Never. I'm guessing that the doctor wouldn't be happy until you do it without the doctor's approval, and he realizes, hey, this shit's getting better. What have you been doing different? Oh, just a little bit of therapy. Oh, great! Really great. Keep it up. It's not the kind of therapy you think.
This is the car I want to get next.
Hang on. Oh, the revamp of the bus.
Yes. Tell me that is not everything.
You know what? We should have you talk to our local Zagir head.
It's stunning.
It's interesting. Not my personal style, and honestly, why not go with well, wait, I know why not to go with an older one. They're a bit of a maintenance hog and not exactly that great for the environment, but you know,
the main thing
could be fun.
But there is a argument to be made that reusing something that has already been made. So there is that argument that some people make. So, but the gas mileage and all of that stuff would be the biggest reason why I wouldn't do the old one. Although I do love the old ones. The old ones are so, like, they're everything.
Yeah, it's like with me, it's like I'd like to get another bike, but one, time, two, you don't want to know how much I'd be willing to spend on one. Let's put it this way, before tax, title, and all of that happy nonsense, if I was to get a bike, I would go all out. I would go brand new. I would add stuff to really make it do all that I would actually want. And it would cost as much as a car.
Yeah, I mean, you can get some pretty decent ones, you know, but if you want like a badass one, you could be spending $50,000.
Oh, no. I'm not that kind of douchebag. I'm a different flavor of douchebag.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at I love motorcycles, but I was looking for one that would be good for me because I need something obviously lighter, and I would love to be able to do it, but unfortunately, it has been vetoed by several people in the family because my father-in-law actually was sitting at a red light and a drunk driver T-boned him while he was on his bike. He was doing everything right, and he literally coma and everything. It broke every bone in his body. And so nobody would let me do it.
All right, so
my father died in a motorcycle accident, so it's kind of the same thing in my family, except I still kind of want one.
I know,
Mine
right?
have curves though, like it has to have curves. It has to be feminine.
Absolutely, yes.
Well, all right. So, are y'all watching the screen?
No, I'm actually looking at motorcycle images.
You're right.
Well, you might as well look back at the live screen because we're about to get into it. So
let's bring it up. All right, stand by.
Which one do we want to take a look at first for the price?
Ooh. What's the price though? That's the question. See, because if we're gonna compare by price, we need to know the price range.
This is why I'm asking. Which one do you want to know the price of first?
The one that I would personally want would be the top one.
Ooh, the sport bike.
Yeah.
Not the
I like its curve.
Not the cheapest one for the configuration that I have for it, but also not the most expensive either.
Yeah, I mean, if I was pointing out the most expensive, I would think I'm going back and forth between two, but I would think it'd be the Diavel. So I always call it the devil bike.
It is the Italian word for devil.
Visually, I'd go for the top one.
Yeah, right. See, me and Karis, we're gonna buy it and then
We're gonna make our
go
own
motorcycle
How
racing.
big of an engine is on that last bottom one?
The bottom one, so the Multi and the Diavel have the same capacity engine. It's a 1262 cc engine. The difference is the tuning.
Yeah. Okay. Coral. What would you be wearing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
if I have to
I don't
wear
care. Let's talk about the clothes.
right.
So
Yeah.
well,
As
so
little as possible.
ooh, no, see on that one, you're actually going to want to be properly protected.
Yes.
Skin tight.
Leather.
Leather.
It should be leather.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's safe
all
and
bodysuit.
it can be worn.
Of course,
so
it's going to be all black.
Of course.
Well, with maybe
The
some,
bodysuit.
like some sort of neon colored trim or seams or something.
Oh, hang on.
I like it when it is like all black and
All
then it
black
has
with
like
some pink or some
neon green
purple.
or like bright ass pink.
Oh, Karis, I think I just might have something for you.
Oh. Yes.
So we have this version. That's the lower end one. There's others. Then we have this one.
Looks like I'm playing Imperium, the first one.
Right.
For those of you who are familiar with that game. Those just aren't, no. I'm sorry.
These are actual high-end tracksuits.
I understand.
And you're still a little limited on what you can do with some of the colors, but yeah, you can do a bright yellow trim on them. But okay. So for everyone out there, seeing as how no one else has chimed in, the Monster 1200, that one there, that is the cheapest one.
Yeah, that makes sense.
At 28 grand even.
Yes.
The one that the ladies were
I'm guessing
going over?
we have really expensive taste.
So there we go. There's the price difference between those two.
No, it's not bad.
No, only about $1,000 before taxes
Yeah.
and everything. But then we get to that one. The Multistrada 1260S. $29,818.51 as currently configured there.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
But then the Diavel. $29,945.97.
Heck, if you pay $29,800, you can pay $29,900.
Oh, here is the kicker though. Here is the real kick in the pants about this. Out of these two, the Multi and the Diavel, which one do you think has more upgrades and options on it?
Well, multi.
Probably Diablo.
The multi.
Well, Multistrada that's actually technically an ADV bike, an adventure bike. It can go off-road and on-road. But I'd be doing on-road.
Your question, you're setting us up to need to pick the not most expensive bike. So I'm going to guess the one that is not most expensive.
Yeah, the Multistrada has more things added to it than the Diavel.
Yeah, I can see that. But
I don't know this because of knowing anything about the bikes. I just know this about how you framed your question.
But they are glorious machines, and yes, for those people who were asking, yes, they are Ducatis.
Mm-hmm.
And Anamorphic Mind asks, what would I do if my wife got me a moped? Give her the keys back, because that's actually what she wants. She wants a Vespa.
I would take one too. I'm just saying. I work full time, but it's like not that far away. It's just long enough where walking is not, unless I wanted to take a couple hours, it's just not efficient. But a moped would be phenomenal. I get there, no problem.
Well, and that's the thing, is the one that I've been leaning to out of those four has actually been the Multistrada for one main reason. So if you notice, there was a top case that would actually serve as a backrest for a passenger.
Yeah, I saw that.
That top case, you can fit 2 helmets in that top case. With those hard cases attached to it, there's actually a very good amount of storage to it. So that could be an everyday ride if I was allowed to ride to work.
Yeah, but Jared, you live in the Northeast. You don't have weather.
I would ride year round if I had the gear for it. And with that bike and with some of the upgrades to the gear that I was looking at the same time, I would ride year round, because the bottom 3 of those bikes, the Monster, the Multistrada, and the Diavol, all had one upgrade in common: heated grips.
Check your Twitter DMs.
Okay. By the way, I found the.
Yes. Yeah, I sent you something similar.
You'll be. I'm telling you, we're here. Oh yeah.
I wonder if I have to take a look at that folder. There was one
Yeah, that's what I sent her.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
I can't remember.
Laura's over there trying to dress us like stormtroopers.
No, and by the way, those color schemes that I showed, those were what I would get for myself.
Oh, okay.
I can see that.
He's pretty
But-
sexy on a dude, I'll give him that.
Yeah. You wish.
Hey, I know you want us to be near your non-existent balls, but we
show me
don't
that
like the
mute
friction. And I did not have it saved. So, Dainese, the gear manufacturer, also has a configurator where you can come up with a custom race suit for you too. And I actually set one up to where it would also be an advertisement for the channel.
Ooh.
Red, white, and blue. Think white base. Not quite navy blue, but a dark blue and deep
So like
red
a royal
trim.
blue? Like a royal blue?
Yeah, yeah.
That sounds tight.
Yeah, with a couple of images already in.
Take it to DMs, Jared.
No. I'm just taking a drink. That way I don't say anything that'll get me in trouble.
You are slightly fed up with the whole flat earth thing in general, right?
Wait, huh?
I'd wear it.
Right?
What are you watching, Jay?
Fuck yeah.
What I'm watching, what I've clipped, it's part of a part of a remix.
Ah, okay.
The end of it is JM saying that he's fucking fed up. I'm actually working on my next clip.
I've got to work on some recording stuff later, so.
Yeah, there are a lot of moving parts and things going on. Oh, God.
Always.
Count the money. Count the money. Sorry.
Demonet. I haven't watched that movie in a while. I think I'm going to have to fix that tonight.
Garçon de la piece.
I'm trying to come up with the witty title.
Good luck.
I have one. I just don't want to spoil it for anybody or their dinners.
I already ate.
It's more okay. How bad are we gonna go on this stream now?
Right. Well, I got distracted on the motorcycle bodysuits, and I'm like, well, that's not good for a motorcycle, but I'd wear that.
Well, some of them. Keep in mind, some of them are base layers. They're actually meant to be worn under the leather, which.
Oh, not
No.
Oh no. No.
No.
No.
Not
Wait. Are we talking latex type tight leather?
They are very tight, yes.
They're tight enough.
Yeah, if you're going latex tight, you're gonna want a base layer just because chafage is a thing.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No, it's just I got distracted by the
Models.
models.
Well, some models are better than others. Some perform a bit better, some perform unexpectedly better.
Yes. It's true. I don't even know what this is, though. This is not... Oh, they're calling it... I was like, this is not a motorcycle outfit.
I would not wear that.
Right?
The hell?
I have no idea. It says women's long sleeve sequins. Like, why is this showing up on a motorcycle bodysuit?
Can I get a fuck no in chat?
Well, the search term of bodysuit.
True.
But still...
And even then, if you want to...
Full body mermaid.
What? Now, here's the question with the sequin ones. If you run your hand the other way, does it change color?
That would be cool. That would be pretty cool. Because then when the wind hits...
So, Jared, you know how I paint?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I once left an intricate drawing on a pillow like that in Walmart. It was pre-COVID, guys. Don't worry.
Nice.
Do I want to know what object you drew on the sequin pillow?
It was an owl. It's okay.
I was going to say,
wait,
correct?
Wait a minute.
Right.
Wait a minute. You drew Hooters on a pillow in Walmart.
It wasn't like that.
It's like, this is not a bodysuit.
No, that's just a body.
Right. It's like, it's not even a... It's not.
It's a nice body, though.
She has a great ass.
Well, here's the thing. Positioning can be deceptive.
I'd squeeze it.
Photoshop is a thing, too.
That's true.
No, it's not Photoshop. It's After Effects.
Sure, do that after I've switched away from that fucking soundboard.
After Effects. That's also called After Effects.
Come on, you gotta be quicker with that stuff. And
I hope you missed Brian. Because I just realized that Jay Brown is in here.
Oh, don't worry. I go back and scan through these when you're in there.
So
This one
anamorphic.
is from a motorbike rider. Hold on.
Hang on. Before we. Okay then. But
I actually have boots like that.
the previous one, there is a question about the previous one though.
Actually, my boots are taller, but they have about the same heels. They're zip-up boots.
Oh, that's cute.
Well, there is a question
Now they're
about
black leather.
There was a question about the previous image that you shared there, Coral.
Sorry. Okay.
Does the body come with the suit?
Right. Because I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, the Jared of 15 minutes ago. No, I'm gonna refrain from saying anything that might get me in trouble, and now just probably come with the
I still am. This is behaving. It could be so much worse.
I'm not behaving. I don't know.
I know, Jared.
You can behave. That's boring.
There are times the beating isn't worth it.
Hard disagree.
No, Sean Carroll has it right. Behave? Us? Never!
Right? Like, do you know who you're speaking to? No.
Again, greatest show on YouTube about nothing.
Well, this episode has shown me that I'm gonna have to start a choral clip show too now.
Hey, I got some gems for you. I tell you what.
Phrasing?
I'm DMing Jared an inquiry on his gems right now.
Oh, I like this helmet.
Yeah, I think it needs more black.
It does.
I think it should be silver on top and then like a black visor.
Look at this one though.
Ooh, that's nice.
Right?
Hey, Coral, we should start our own YouTube channel on bike stuff.
I like it. Here we go. Here's unicorn colors.
That's a little too much for me.
Never.
Yeah, is it ever too much?
No, you gotta live your best life, okay?
There is a such thing.
Well, at what point does it become too much? Because
it depends on the person and the sugar skulls are fun. It depends on the person and there are ways in which to proceed, and there are ways that are a bit cruel. There are factors, and I like that one. And
wait, was that a zipper in the art
it
design
was,
of it?
Yeah, literally a zipper.
Nice.
Badass, right?
Yeah, I like it.
Interesting.
But to answer your question, yes.
Just might have to find where that limit is sometimes. But that's half the fun.
There's a midway point between Missouri and Rhode Island.
You know, if it wasn't a short notice last week, I did end up in Kentucky for a few days.
I know, I noticed that. And I was like, remember that time we were both in Chicago?
Oh, you know, I'm over in the Chicago area.
We were both in Illinois, rather.
Yeah, it's...
Oh, hush. See? You hear her? You hear my dog?
I was wondering... I was wondering which one.
She's such a liar.
Do we need to be the ones to tell her?
I don't know. She's driving me crazy. Whoa, give me attitude.
My dog is selectively stupid.
She is insane. You see her?
Oh my goodness, she's adorable.
No.
What do you want? What do you want?
So it looks like she's trying to get you to follow her.
Yeah.
Now it's one of two things. It's either food, or you're gonna get another type of present.
My dog forces me to hold her bone for her because I have opposable thumbs, and she knows that I can hold it better than she can.
That's funny.
I don't own her; she owns me.
She will literally bring me the slippers. Like, she's like, seriously, dude. I said, let's go.
Mine will pull all of her bones and toys.
I can't handle her eyes. I gotta go. Be right back. I gotta take her out.
Yeah, go see what the princess needs.
Weaponized eyes.
So dumb.
Oh.
She's so cute though.
There.
There's another one.
It's like, come on! I've already told
Right?
you. You said
Waiting
you're
for
doing
it.
it. What's going on? Why aren't you moving? Let's
Right.
go. Come on. Train's leaving the station.
And now we got another dog in here. I'm like, you bringing in reinforcements. All right, I will be back.
All right, we'll be here. Maybe. But yes, I will say this, for all that is going on, the amount of last minute travel that I'm going to be doing going forward is going to be fascinating. Although I did find out something today while I was in the office that I'm actually kind of I kind of like. I don't have to worry about going to Brazil.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, we don't have the a support contract with that company anymore. As apparently during the World Cup they wanted a couple of our guys down there, and one of them couldn't go because he's of Brazilian descent, but is actually an American citizen, and they were trying to say, oh no, if you come down here, here's the fine you're going to face for not serving your time in the army, and when you would travel down, you would have to travel down as a Brazilian citizen, not an American citizen. And talk about a corrupt fucking country.
Aren't they also a current COVID hotspot as well at the moment?
Honestly, I haven't been keeping up on the numbers on that to know, as most of my travel has been by car locally, so I haven't had to worry about it. And my passport's currently expired, so I can't go international right now anyways. Although that... I wonder how long it's going to be before I can go on another cruise. That's kind of depressing now.
You can do one out of Hawaii if you wanted to.
Nah, I'm not going to do the Hawaiian cruises. What were you asking there, Karis?
If you could avoid death ships, that would be great. We'd like to kind of keep you around.
Again, I do actual vacation cruises now, not regular cruises like what we used to. But at the same time, yeah, a lot of people cramped quarters on a, comparatively speaking, on a ship like that. Yeah, I'm just going to say this right now. A majority of people in this world, a surprising majority, are fucking disgusting, and not in a good way.
I've never been on one of those cruises, so I'm not familiar with that demographic.
Well, no, I'm just talking like people in general, because think about what was one of the first big things when the pandemic really started to finally get acknowledged here in the U.S. Yeah, wash your hands. How many people need to be fucking reminded of that shit? Too many.
But not only that, they had to be told how long to do it. So you want to know what's funny? She was ruined at me. And so I'm like, okay, it's either food or she wants to go outside. The stupid part about it is, like, she needed my permission to go outside, apparently, because we have a dog door. She can go out anytime she wants.
She wanted to make sure you knew she's a good girl like that.
She wanted you out with her.
Right? I'm like, nope.
Well, that's probably part of it, too.
I grabbed some non-ice cream ice cream. And...
Oh, wait, it's Ben & Jerry's. How is that non-ice cream?
They technically call it
the non-dairy. Okay, the non-dairy, that's why. Okay.
Yes.
Well,
but it looks exactly and tastes exactly the same.
Jared, will you please look at Coral's name? and let us know.
No. Well, no, I understand. I was just wondering how they were calling it non-dairy ice cream instead of calling it more apt of what it would actually be, which would be a bit more of either a sorbet or a gelato.
Yeah, they're calling it a non-dairy frozen dessert. I don't know. I guess that's what they landed on. And then, so this one is the coconut 7-layer bar, and it's made with mostly the almond milk, but it also has coconut milk in it. So, yeah, it has mostly the almond milk, though.
I
like the oat milk one's the best, though. It's creamier.
Oh, you like it creamy?
I do. I like it creamy.
If I can lick it, it's the best.
Mm-hmm. Who doesn't love a good lick?
Indeed. DM from Jared incoming.
No, it's more like, I really hope Jay is paying attention.
I'm working on one right now.
God damn it.
Jared, I sent you one just because I had said earlier I'm sending you one and I wanted that to be not a lie.
She's back. She's like,
This $600 mixer has paid for itself already.
Fuck me.
There's another one.
I wasn't gonna say it.
She does it so quietly too.
Give it time.
And I still have to record parts from Dracula.
Yeah, you know, and if my schedule wasn't so erratic, I would have actually lend myself to that as well. But actually, you know what? I'll reach out to Dapper, see if he is still looking for voices for that or different project, because why the hell not?
I think we've got 5 so far. I can see if I mean we're in group chat. I can see if he's got another space.
Oh, and speaking of chat.
Oh God, what is this?
I find it interesting how as soon as I mention that, the initial response is, "Oh God." I don't know whether to enjoy that that's the reaction that I got, or be offended, or a little of both.
It's not an offensive. Oh God.
Oh, it's a preemptive one. Okay.
Jared, may I let you know that my memory is fully intact.
No.
You know to what I refer.
And putting it all together, it's like, well, yeah, okay. Where's the rum?
Again, not an offensive. Oh God.
Or Bailey's. I mean, Bailey's would go really well with this right now.
With what you have, yes, I would agree. But there is also
I need some Baileys and a cold shower.
Have you ever had Baileys from a boot?
No, I have not.
Oh, see, I know Coral got where that reference was from. Oh, the types of things that could not be made today.
Right, that's what I was thinking. There's some classics that are so offensive. Just like,
for those who don't know, there are 2 words to search, and it is on YouTube, of all places. Old Greg.
that'll do it.
Too much for me. Jared.
See, what's interesting is we have those comments going on, and then the way Coral plays with the spoon.
Oh, I'm all over Coral right now.
Although
I'm having my own little mental threesome over here. Shut the fuck up, Jay Brown.
You said it, not me.
And Sean Carroll does have a point out in the live chat talking about things that wouldn't fly today. Think about how much Red Skelton and George Carlin would not fly today.
You know what? Absolutely. Like
I've only seen Red Skelton's miming.
I used to hate George Carlin, and I hated everything about him. But that's because I didn't listen to him. I didn't listen to what he was saying. And when one of my friends was like, "No, dude, you gotta actually listen." And I put on the one. He has a fantastic one on religion. I was done. Okay, I'm a fan. But yeah, could not do it nowadays. I'd want to though, because sometimes you need to say it. In fact, who was it? I don't know who said it, but there was one. It was one of the famous comedians, and he was talking about offensive jokes, and he said that when you're evaluating whether or not a joke is appropriate, you have to look at what exactly is being made fun of and who's the target. And you can say, like, the things that are pointing out, like a social commentary and things like that, those can be good and can get people to laugh about a sometimes horrible position that they're in. And
basically
that's why
read the room.
Right, exactly. You got it. You're short and sweet. See, this is me rambling again.
And I'm the autistic one here.
Well, and that is what a lot of people have lost, is that observation of other people and the recognition of, you're probably not going to like this, but then you have people like me who I can make those ratings, but I go the other way. It's like, I know this is going to rub you the wrong way. How can I amplify that?
My sole purpose in life growing up was, how can I offend you?
My sole purpose was just to survive, so I had to learn to read the room, or there may be dire consequences.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, honestly, I give you a lot of credit for getting through that portion of your life, because I don't know if I could have.
You could have. Nobody thinks that they could until they're already through it. Then after a while, you're kind of messed up really badly until you start recovering more fully. And then you look back and it's kind of a haze, and it's like, what the fuck was all that? And how did I get through that? And then you find other people who have gone through similar circumstances, and you're like, oh wow, that's such a strong person. How did they get through that? And they're like, dude, look at what you went through. And you're like, oh yeah, I guess so, but I'm not strong. And they're like, yes you are. So nobody really thinks that they're strong enough to get through it. Even if you don't think of yourself as strong. Okay, I should not say you. I'm speaking for myself here. There are plenty of people out there who have gone through that sort of thing and acknowledge their strength because they're in that point in their healing. I'm not yet there. It's still going to be, it's been some years. There are some very deep scars, so it'll still be some time.
Yeah, well,
did any of that answer your question?
No, it did, because actually the way I can relate to that is actually part of what we were talking about before, where I mentioned the importance of a proper, healthy family dynamic, and how just because family's there, it's not exactly a beneficial or healthy type of interaction. And for me to be in the position I am with the capabilities that I have in actually interacting with people and everything, it's often in spite of what I dealt with growing up. And so, yeah, I can see from your vantage point on that how that would be the case, because I actually had people who've come to know more about my background, specifically my childhood and everything, and they've actually said, and how, and you've ended up where? Whoa. It's that surprise, because the term the forgotten child is actually not a misnomer oftentimes. And that is something that can really mess with someone's self-view. Because when the people that are supposed to be there doing a particular thing, being a certain type of influence in your life, and they're not exactly doing that and kind of passing it off to people who shouldn't be in the position either, it really gums up the works.
Yeah. And then you get those of us who wish we had been the forgotten child.
I think a lot of people can connect to that.
But my brother had it worse growing up than I did, which is saying something. What?
No, a different messaging in the background. A wonderful little child is living to that moniker again. I mean, Talon definitely has a talent for the way he is.
Are we talking about our Talon?
Yes.
Oh. I haven't spoken to him in a long time.
Yeah, he stepped away for a little while there, but with the revamp of movie night and everything, the message that made me chuckle is, look at what time it is, and he in that group chat it asks, what, no invite link for me? It's like, do you remember the show and who's running it? I mean, I think they're supposed to go live in about 17 minutes, but I don't see them starting at that time. Just a hunch.
All right, so I have the new Karis and the new Coral on the soundboard.
Oh boy.
Oh no. Hey, I got some gems for you.
It's a little too much for me.
That's a good one.
My voice so much. I freaking detest it.
It's like when what's his name from Good Will Hunting. He's like, "How about them apples?"
You know, underrated in that movie was actually how well Robin Williams was able to do a non-comedic role. Yeah, there were glimpses of his humor just because of the way he is, and they let he and Matt Damon just kind of have fun and be in character for a bit for a couple of the scenes. But for what he was able to do in the non-comedy roles, especially as he got further into his career,
absolutely,
he really.
He's when I found out that he had passed,
Oh,
I
God.
cried,
Yeah.
and because it was like you grow up as and he almost feels like part of your family. He's someone that makes you laugh and cry and but yet then there's these videos of when um, he is serious, like What Dreams May Come and Good Will Hunting and stuff like that, and you realize how broad of an actor he was. He was so brilliant and genius about certain things. And like one of the best scenes from Good Will Hunting is the fart scene, and that was 100% ad-libbed.
It was, and you could tell because there was just something even more. The only word I can think to describe it is genuine. The response that Matt Damon had as he was telling the joke.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah, it was real.
and that is the thing that a lot of the more recent media has lost are those moments of it's not even pulling the veil back, it's just people being people and not letting themselves get too far into something unnecessarily. Yes, there are times that certain roles are supposed to be serious and portrayed a certain way and everything, but there's still that innate humanity that should be there throughout that is often missing. Yes, I'm looking at you, Kristen Stewart.
Yeah, oh God.
I
She
got a thimble that can act better than her.
one of my one of her movies was literally on it was the Snow White one with Charlize Theron. Oh,
Yes.
stunning. Um and I was just watching it the entire time, and my sister came in and was like, "Oh, I love her," and I'm like, "Why? She has literally one face. And here's her sad face. Here's her happy face. Here's her shocked face."
You know,
I was like, "It's the same face."
I would say she has the emotional range of a slice of white bread, but that's an insult to white bread because at least it can be nutritious.
And toasted.
Barely.
It's there.
There could have been a better actress.
Yeah, there. And early in her career, she actually tried to be more emotive. It just didn't work for her. I mean,
I think the sternness and austerity worked for that movie, though, considering her role.
You know what she reminds me of a lot is Keanu Reeves in any type of talking role.
There we go. I found it.
We're talking about Kristen Stewart. I was thinking Charlize Theron.
No.
Okay, I'm going to go get drunk. No, as far as Kristen Stewart, yeah, I'll give you my agreement there. I was completely on the wrong person. Can we forget this ever happened?
Charlize Theron was not only stunning, but there's the in-between scenes when she's in between frames and she's still acting in that moment, right before she's about to scream or do something along those lines, she's
the carryover.
Yeah, she's amazing.
It gives
I was a little confused because I was I was at the wrong person. I'm like, I don't know if I agree with her here, but
we'll give it time. Then it clicked. Oh, we're talking about that person. Okay, yeah.
I kind of walked into the wrong building.
It's okay, you got there at the end. That's what matters.
I took the scenic route.
Right. Yeah. It's all good.
Now, I will actually, in connection to the meme that's being shown, I will give it this. Because of the delivery and because of how fitting for the character it is, the delivery and the vocals that are used for the Mandalorian, I don't see a Martell when I hear the voice. The actor who plays the Mandalorian also played Oberyn Martell on Game of Thrones. And I know that, but it's still one of those. I don't picture the face together with the voice on that one. It's one of those. He has actually done the character so well that the character is himself. It's not, oh, it's this guy doing this type of character. It's not like Jim Carrey. You hear Jim Carrey, you know it's him whether you're looking or not.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I think that there's different levels, different things that you like for different reasons. Like with say Keanu Reeves, he does a really good job when it comes to like the action-y type movies, mostly when he's not speaking. But there are certain times that works, like with a movie like The Matrix, him being kind of despondent during the times that he is just trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. It makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and same with John Wick, that walk softly, carry a big stick type of mentality with it is. I am of the mind that role was in fact completely written for him, bar none, just the way it is. No one can convince me otherwise. Even if there's a statement from the director and writer saying, "Oh no, we just wrote the character. It just happened to fit Keanu." No, motherfucker. You guys wrote that for him.
It's actually a book, and it's a brilliant book.
Oh, and that's the thing is, I can
the book
see.
was written for Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. You know what? It oftentimes you can look at a character and a way they're portrayed in film, and you could visualize another actor potentially playing that role. Try doing that with John Wick.
You're going to punish me here, but I've never seen John Wick.
Really?
Karis, you're not alone. I have not seen it either.
Really? It's really good. You need to add that to movie night.
Just remember, don't mess with a man's dog.
Okay.
Well, in my defense, though, I do have all 3 movies. I just haven't had time to watch them.
Understood. I do not have the movies.
It's a good one.
Nor have I seen them.
Do you like action movies?
Yes, but I don't usually watch things. I've been pretty busy lately, and I grew up under a rock.
Gotcha.
So I'm just not in the habit of stuff.
It's not super old, and it's not too bad. It's fun for what it is. It's not any type of serious whatevers, but as you said, A Man and His Dog was the most recent one. It was great.
Well, when you really look at it, if you try to do a film critique of it, it is a very simple and basic action movie. But because of that simplicity in the story, it was actually done quite well. Because with that simplified framework, they were able to focus on other aspects and put energy elsewhere in the actual production, which made it all work together. And
I would agree.
And one of the other things that I like is that this is the type of person that Keanu is. When he got the role, and started his pre-production work for it, part of that was actually going to actual training for close quarters combat, close quarters firearms, actual firearms training. So a lot of the movements that he does in the fight scenes are straight from that realm. So you have that added level of realism in that No, he actually trained with people who would on how to properly react and respond with these different disciplines and these different weapons that are available. And he freaking pulled it off.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, I would agree. It's like when Jackie Chan does his thing, and he does all of his own stunts. The man is in his 50s. He's still doing his own stunts. But you can tell a difference between someone who's doing his own stunts and someone who is, just letting a stuntman do it.
Well,
I mean, not to go to like sitcom-y stuff too much, but Vampire Diaries had an actor, Steve McQueen, who he's what?
The meme that Tech just brought up.
Oh,
I freaking
actor,
love that
Steve
one.
McQueen.
I about put this ice cream all over my laptop. Fuck you.
It would have been worth it though. It's a great one.
It's a good one. Continue, Tara. Sorry.
I can't follow that meme. There's no following that meme.
Ain't that the truth?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I like some of the simple movies though.
Damn it!
Like Pitch Black. Pitch Black was really, really good because it has a very simple premise
and a very hot actor.
Yeah, I was gonna say there were a number of other ways that they went well in that movie, and I do have to say that twist at the end with Jack.
Mm-hmm.
That was neat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And in fact, I just like the representation of it. Because not often that you have characters that are played androgynously.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's
or played
I think androgyny is so beautiful. But and she's so interesting.
Again, it's androgyny played right.
Mm-hmm.
There are only a couple of times that I could think of where that term can be put to a character and it's not cliched.
Right.
And
there's this blank like androgyny thing that it's like almost like a straw man of what androgyny is.
Mm-hmm.
That you see all the time. But when you see someone that is truly, and it's like, but it's a real androgyny where, and it's effortless and it doesn't look exactly the same as everything else.
Yeah. Well, and that's where, so that instance of it actually came off well. Two other roles, two other movies that I've seen that it came
Tilda
off
Swinton, I think,
yes,
well.
yes. That is the actress that I was thinking of, Tilda Swinton.
Oh, I don't know if I know who that is.
Have you seen Doctor Strange?
From Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah, Doctor Strange with Cumberbatch.
Yes,
that
too.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so the way she played the roles in Doctor Strange was one of them that came to mind. Anyone want to take a guess to the other? Constantine.
I love that movie. It is a guilty
It's been
pleasure.
so long since I've seen that.
It's another
played Gabriel.
piano movies.
Played Gabriel, one of the angels that came down, who was actually trying to help Mormon and that whole kerfuffle, and got what was coming to him.
And that was gorgeous.
Also, DM. Significant pause. Yep.
So, it's interesting too, talking about books and movies. Have you ever read a book like when you're a child, and then years later they make it into a movie, and like the characters are exactly how you imagined them, or
Kind of like a
exactly
remake of Watership Down.
Yes, so just recently Netflix did the multi-part series of Watership Down, and
Oh, really?
yeah,
Mhm.
Was it good?
Oh
yes,
yeah, yeah,
very, very good.
yeah.
Because they took their time, I would say that it was more accurate to the book than the original 1978 animated movie. Part of that is the runtime, because they did it as essentially 4 feature-length films in one. They were able to go more into that nuance from the book, which was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this. The 78 movie actually showed more blood than the new one. But
That's true.
you still got that same sense and everything.
Yeah.
But
Watership Down is one of my favorite books, and I didn't watch the original 70s version until I was much older. And so it was one of those where you're like, whoa, okay, that's see, Watership Down was that did not fit with me with the book, like with how it was being portrayed. But I remember I was in the theater for way different. I think it was for like Angels and Demons or something. I don't even know. And a preview came on, and it was the moment I heard Liam Neeson's voice, and they showed Aslan, and you just got chills because I was like, it was like I was reading the book again. I was just like, oh my gosh. You just have
Yeah.
like this moment of cognition. I knew exactly what book it was without even seeing the title.
I have a I have the complete series of the Chronicles of Narnia in story chronological order, not the order they were printed. It
Ooh.
is such a wonderful read that way. It's a giant paperback, so I can like.
We have it in hardback. It's literally like a tabletop book that has all of them.
oh, wait,
Oh,
wait,
so you
wait.
have the Bible version. Got it.
Wait, no. That's not a coffee table book. That is a book you can use as a coffee table.
Right. Yeah, basically. But it's everything. Well, we love the story. It's so good. So good. Yeah, I like.
Wrong way. Going that way.
Oftentimes, the remakes of movies are terrible, but when you find the ones that are gems, like Dune. Did you ever see Dune?
Okay. Oh boy. You missed Kanara Damar a couple episodes ago, didn't you?
Apparently.
Oh, I think I still have the image in here somewhere. It'll be on this drive. It will be in here. Yeah. Come on. Because it's interesting that you point that out. Because there was an episode where I posed the question to everyone, which verse is the best verse that is not Star Trek? And actually, you know what? I'll just bring up the thumbnail. Where are the thumbnails?
Sorry, I was distracted.
By a pinch and roll?
Yeah.
Alright. So, are you watching the stream, Coral?
Yes.
Oh no.
A puppy alert.
So,
Being absolutely adorable. Sorry, continue.
So which sci-fi franchises do you see represented here?
Oh, my name is not sure. Alright, let's see.
Be right back, refilling my drink.
Apparently I need to make it bigger. Okay, so I see. I'm gonna fail this. The ships. Okay. Well, I definitely recognize. I mean, obviously, you got Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I see Firefly.
Yeah.
I see Farscape.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the other one is.
So you got the top 3.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom right, that's Babylon 5.
Dang.
And bottom left is Red Dawn.
Red Dwarf.
Red Dwarf, yeah.
I don't. Honestly, I don't think I actually saw Red Dwarf.
It was
sorry,
a UK one.
Running through my head now that I'm just laughing about.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But so you'll see that.
So there's a reason why I don't know it. I'm like, why haven't I seen this? Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
All right, it should be in here.
I've got the plot line for Red Dwarf and Red Dawn mixing up in my mind.
Yeah.
I'm laughing about it.
There it is, unnamed. So, I surprised everyone by bringing in this at the very end. And I have all but the latest 3 releases of books from the Dune saga, dating back to the original, all the originals done by Frank Herbert. I have. Also, I have the House prequels, and the histories, and the conclusion, and a couple of the interlude books that they did. So, when it comes to Dune on film, do you want to talk about it, how watchable it was, or how accurate it was? Because it's one or the other. The 1984 was a more watchable film. But
yeah, I think that's more. I feel like it was one of those moments where when I was watching it, it was how I saw it in my head. You know, like there's certain scenes like that I was just like, that's exactly how I imagined her looking. That's exactly how I would imagine him to be standing there in that scene. So for me, it was more along the lines of I had that cognition of when I was watching the movie, and it's really cool when what you've imagined in your head. Because when I read books, I see it in my head like a movie, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And so to see it on the screen is really neat.
Yeah, and that's where I can go from either one, because in my opinion, the physical appearance of Paul was more accurate in the 1984 movie. The same with Gurney Halleck in that one, and Peter de Vries, and the Baron Harkonnen. The miniseries got a couple of the other characters right. Urleron and Chani were better in the miniseries on the casting side for appearance, between how they were described in the book versus what they were on screen. However, the Guild Navigator, I don't recall them being described as a bat.
Yeah, I did laugh at that. Have you seen any of the trailers of the new one?
I'm avoiding it till it's released because I don't want it soiled. I want to give it a fair shot because there are a number of things I've heard that are great if actually done, but there is one massive one that is freaking stupid.
Oh no.
That bulky armor being worn by the Atreides military on Caladan.
Oh, you know what? Okay, I think I see what you're talking about. It was one of the images that first came up, and I was like, what the fuck is he wearing?
Yeah, exactly. It's body armor. Sorry, they didn't have body armor like that for the civilized worlds. They had the personal shields. The only reason why they didn't use the personal shields on Arrakis is because it would draw attention from the worms.
Right. Yeah, I was wondering, I was literally looking at that because it was one of the ones that popped up first, is in one of the previews of one of the videos that show up on the thing, because I was trying to Google it because I wasn't sure if it actually had come out yet or not. It doesn't look like it's released until December. But yeah, I was like, what the fuck is he wearing? Like, that's not right.
The Holtzman shields were not sound-based, Sean. The Holtzman effect was actually an energy shield that could only be penetrated by a slow-moving object.
Oh god, I've got to get out of the gutter.
Again.
Only if you want.
No. Tempo and intensity. You got to be able to change both.
Yeah.
But
I switched to drinks from water.
But that is something that a lot of people forget from the books, is that in Dune it actually explained why the personal shield wasn't used on Arrakis, and it was two reasons. One, the vibration of the energy field, which that's what it was. It wasn't a sound barrier, it was an energy barrier. But it would have that like hum to it that would draw the attention of the great worms. And at the same time, if you were to shoot someone with that had that shield active with a las gun, it's not just a nuclear blast. That is damn near world ending.
I did not know that Jason
I don't know
Momoa
which one
was
you're
going to be
laughing
in
at.
it.
Didn't know Jason Momoa what?
I didn't know Jason Momoa was going to be in the new one.
Oh, which role was he supposed to be playing?
Duncan?
Yeah, that's one of those. I like him as an actor for the roles that he's been in. I'm not sure how well he's going to do that one.
Right. I mean, again, he's another one of those actors that I don't know. I don't want to be, I guess, I don't want to assume, because I often find that the actors that I end up accidentally stereotyping into certain roles change my mind. And so I will just say, I didn't know that he was going to be in an interesting
I did that with
choice.
Harrison Ford. What Lies Beneath taught me a lesson.
Ooh, good movie.
No, there I'm trying to remember if there was an actor that I'd been surprised with in that. You know what? No, there is one that actually surprised me, and I think what surprised me is actually how well the character was played. And going full circle, Robin Williams, 1 hour photo.
Oh, I actually did not see that movie. It is the only one of his cinematography that I have not seen, or filmography that I have not seen, is 1 hour photo. It looks amazing. It looks scary as fuck, and I don't want to corrupt my my memories of Robin Williams. And
I wouldn't describe it as scary, if that'll help any. So
yeah, it wasn't
very creepy, but not scary.
Yeah, it's more like a mild psychological thriller / scary movie in that aspect. And that's the thing with me is when it comes to horror movies, thriller, scary movies, that subset, I prefer the psychological over gore porn.
Llamas with hats.
I'm the other way around. I'll take gore porn. Okay.
Yes!
Anything with porn in it, duh.
Well, no, so like they're like
They can be pretty good at playing the kind of the villain characters. So
yeah,
Insomnia.
Insomnia was damn good.
Well, Coral, how much of the Hostel series have you seen?
Every single one.
Yeah,
I
so
haven't seen that. I meant to see it, but I get.
So those are the types of horror films that I particularly don't enjoy. I don't enjoy gratuitous violence for the sake of gratuitous violence.
Oh, I want it gratuitously all over me.
Different subject, I will agree with you. Not that one.
All right, and so then what other type of psychological thriller would you prefer then?
Poltergeist.
No, see, I'm the complete opposite from you. I prefer House of a Thousand Corpses and Saw and Hostel over Poltergeist and Paranormal Activity and
See,
the others.
Oh God, no! Sorry, the others. The others. I had to turn that into a live-action Mystery Science Theater 3000 just to justify the price that I paid for the movie ticket.
That theater, so
wasn't that the one with Nicole Kidman in it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I actually saw that one, and that
about
tells
the
me
fourth
a lot.
kind?
I hate movies like that.
Oh, yeah. See, Event Horizon. Event Horizon is a horror film that I enjoy. There's enough of the mind fuck with it, with the gore, that there's reason for it. I love that.
Nope.
Without having seen it, I would agree with your statement.
Who here's seen the fourth kind?
No.
With Mila Jovovich?
I mean, your statement just, as a principle, as it stands.
Yeah.
I love Mila Jovovich, and I think that Mila Jovovich. I don't know if I've seen that though.
Basically, it's based on a semi-true story, in the sense that it's Mila plays a psychiatrist that's treating people in a rural Alaska town. Might even be Fairbanks, so maybe not that rural, but you get my point.
Sure.
And she ends up just losing it. And they cut to actual film session tapes of the original lady that this is based on. Anyways, it's based upon the fact that her daughter goes missing, and she believes it's aliens abducted her daughter. They could have done it so much better, and it is god awful. Like it never made me want to research into the actual underlying base story.
Oh, that's sad.
Well, it's kind of like Annabelle. Annabelle was good and actually made people want to look into the story that actually originated the Amityville horror string of movies, because that is something that has actually been said multiple times.
I saw that one in theaters. My sister and I were like screaming into each other's shoulders, and my brother was over there eating all of our popcorn and laughing.
Well, and that
Yeah,
and that's the thing is, like, the others. It was a couple of friends who wanted to go see it. I was mildly interested, but if I remember correctly, that was an M. Night Shyamalan movie, right?
Was it?
I believe so.
Yeah, if it wasn't done by him, it was someone who was trying to emulate his style. And to me, his movies are so freaking predictable, they're boring.
Yeah, it wasn't M. Night
Are now.
Shyamalan.
Like in the beginning, they weren't predictable,
No.
but after Signs, well, even Signs, but yeah, basically after the first one, everything then it was predictable.
Well, just look what he did with The Last Airbender.
Oh, I didn't see that one yet.
Don't.
Yeah.
Even though it's on Netflix, don't.
Why would you try to turn multiple seasons into one movie?
Yeah, pretty much all of Shyamalan's movies involves like a surprise twist.
Ooh, what a twist!
No.
Yeah.
So you're expecting the surprise. That's the issue.
He didn't actually try to condense 3 seasons into one movie. He tried to condense 20 half-hour episodes into a full 2-hour movie, and then leave out some key elements to the actual underlying plot. Like, I don't know, the Kyoshi Warriors.
Well, yeah, from what I haven't seen all of the actual source material for Airbender, but I just watching the movie.
Netflix is your friend.
Yeah, to time is the detriment. Some would say time is the predator that haunts us. No, fuck!
You're fired.
You're welcome.
Damn you, Jay!
You thought you were done after that episode, didn't you?
Yes, I did, you fucker!
I guess for me, the interesting part is like, I don't like any type of horror movie that is based on like ghosts, or if it's anything that has like a lot of jump scares, or anything that has a lot of like things that, like, Alfred Hitchcock was really, really good at letting your imagination fill in the rest. And if it's like that type of movie, I have a good imagination. I've read lots and lots of books, and as I said, I see them in my head, and so my brain will fill it in with the scariest motherfucking shit you can come up with, and then I won't be able to sleep for a week. No,
I
thank you.
love the paranormal type stuff. I don't like the jump scares like you, but I mostly don't like anything that involves contortions of the face. If there are facial contortions in there, I get squicked out. But I do like when they use the technology on hand in order to properly just execute the paranormal effects that you would expect. If you read a book and you're reading about all these magical things that are going on, and people are properly using their technology and mimicking that and making it well done and not overdoing it, because there are some movies that are just all special effects and no plot, and you don't want to go that route.
Avatar.
Yeah,
that one's stunning.
I mean, yeah. But
it was stunning. But then we have like things like, so I remember watching The Ring. The Ring is really well done. It's creepy, and it was creepy when I first saw it, at least. And I couldn't stare at a freaking TV. I was scared. Like, I don't like movies like that at all. I know in my head that it's not real, but it doesn't matter. My brain will just consistently put whatever it is on a loop, and I won't be able to turn it off.
All right, so I have to agree with Anamorphic Mind. If you enjoyed that, you should watch the original Japanese one. It's even better. Like, oftentimes when you get a remake, especially from one international market to another, there are losses in translation, and going from Ringu to Ring is one of them. If you enjoyed the first the Ring, if you enjoyed it well enough, give Ringu a watch, and just be prepared.
Yeah, hard pass. Hard pass.
I need company when I'm watching movies like that.
Have you seen Catacombs?
No.
It's an older movie. I'm trying to think when it came out, but anyways, I didn't see when it first came out. I saw it years later, and it's not a a big budget one, obviously. Some of the better ones are kind of, low key indie type. I'm not sure if it was or not, but anyways, there was so much realism in most of the film. So the concept of it is these young adults end up in, I think, Paris, and they go down into the catacombs for a party, a rave, I think. And when they get down into the catacombs, something's killing people. And so most of the film is in the dark in these catacombs, and you have no idea what's going on. And it's scary as hell because you have no idea. And it was really, 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 really well done until they showed who was killing everybody. And then you're just like,
letdown, or
yeah,
those are the ones that you can have a great movie, but if the ending doesn't live up to the rest of the film, you might as well just not have watched it. Like, a film can make up for a bad beginning. The opening to a movie can actually be kind of shit, but the rest of the movie can make up for it. But there's no making up for a bad ending. There really isn't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of some of the ones that, like, the ones that give me the EBGBs the most, but there's certain scenes where I'm just like, nope. Even in the ones that I like Hostel, like the eyeball scene, nope.
See, when it comes to a lot of the physical, the gore part of horror movies, I've noticed that I have a problem with the visual and the sound of breaking bones.
Ooh,
because
yeah.
I've broken the only bone I've broken in my body was actually my right ankle, my freshman year of high school. And just every time I hear a bone breaking, I feel that again. And it's just, no. Just no.
Did you see House of Wax, the one that was done with Paris Hilton?
Parts of it, I really wasn't interested in seeing it, mainly because of her.
Yeah, it's terrible. But there's this one part where they literally slice the Achilles tendon of the person, and they just go falling forward. But the slice, I was just like, I feel that. I'm watching.
Yeah.
Nope.
See, and that's where having a good balance between the shock value and the inference of what's going on is where you can tell how masterful the director is in what they're doing with the story. And oh, great. I'll check that out after we go off air, Anamorphic Mind. Thanks. We nice. There are certain movies that just get it. There are other movies who try to get it but miss the mark, and it's just meh. But then you have those rare occasions where they try, they miss the mark, but they miss the mark so much it becomes good again. 13 Ghosts.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Matt Lillard. Oh God, what's her name? She was in. She played the foreign exchange student in American Pie. Shannon Elizabeth.
Yeah, Shannon Elizabeth.
Yeah. It was early 2000s horror remake. Yeah, but paranormal horror remake in a. It wasn't meant to be a comical way, but it ended up being one.
Definitely did not see that one. Although I do like, I actually, Shannon Elizabeth is a guilty pleasure.
Yeah. Well,
I like.
You're gonna enjoy that one because it's a glass house.
Oh, I don't know. Ghost Story. I'm not a big fan.
But the stories that go behind it, though, there are bits of it that make it enjoyable to watch in a good way, but then there are others that are just so bad. And that it's Matt Lillard's acting in it is so over the top, it's campy, and I love it in that movie.
I see Tony Shalhoub is in it.
Yes.
This is the only horror movie I've ever seen Tony Shalhoub.
Right, I was gonna say I would not have like on the list of any nowhere near at all. Like what? Why is he in this movie? I'm so shocked.
He's the main character.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he's the lead male in the movie.
That's hysterical. I would not.
It's something that you want to consider based on what you said of your preference.
I'm gonna need to see this now.
But yes, it is worth a watch.
It's entertaining. I mean, I wouldn't classify it as scary personally, and yeah, it's got some. I don't know.
Some moments.
Like Anamorphic Mind has it right. There's one of the characters in there that is tagged the Jackal that is actually, for the horror genre, very well done and very well visually presented.
In
that movie, yeah. So it's one of those things. Like again, there are these little diamonds strewn about the movie that is not quite a turd, but pretty close.
Sure. Did you ever see Jeepers Creepers?
Yes, and actually Mike71 out in the chat mentioned Michael J. Fox.
That's funny.
And that.
Oh, what about shoot.
I'm trying to think of the ones that really truly scared the piss out of me. Of course, you have the original It, Jeepers Creepers. Those were ones that nope, will not watch. Nope. I watched the first Jeepers Creepers, and I saw the trailer, I think it was, for the second one, and I'm like, nope, hell no, not watching that.
See, there are a lot of movies like that that are meant to be more of one genre over another, and to me, I find comedy in them, and that's if there's enough comedy in what's supposed to be a horror movie, I don't even consider it a horror movie anymore. It's a comedy, and it is infinite, in my opinion, oftentimes infinitely better that way. But then there are some that just
Oh, The Thing.
just flop.
I remember that Michael J. Fox movie that where he could see ghosts.
Yeah.
The Frighteners.
Yeah, that's one of them. Supposed to be kind of a scary movie, but with the
But it's supposed to be funny. It's a horror comedy would probably be the best.
But it's more comedy than
more
horror.
comedy than horror, yeah.
But see, now here's a question for Anamorphic Mind, and I think I know the answer to this because in the Discord server a couple weeks ago, we watched the older one with Kurt Russell.
Oh, like old one.
So there are 3 versions of it. The Kurt Russell's the middle one.
You have the old one, the not as old one, and the new one.
Well, so the original was done in the 50s. Then you have the Kurt Russell version, which was late 80s? Mid-late 80s. And then you have the new one that was done just, 10 years ago?
Yeah, not
2009, 10 maybe?
And my husband loves horror movies, which is hysterical. So he will watch, and it doesn't matter if it is a crappy ass horror movie or if it is a, really big, like serious one or whatever. If it's a horror movie, he's down. And so I'll try to find ones that are like
obscure.
Yeah, the ones that he hasn't seen. So that way we can enjoy it, and hopefully it'll be something that is not actually scary.
82 for the Kurt Russell version. I remember it was 80s, but yeah, that one, masterclass in practical effects.
Yeah, because isn't that? I was gonna say like the. Because I'm trying to think of the thing that I remember is like similar to the old Godzilla.
No, this one was it was a creature from outer space. It was an alien invader, but the way it invaded was it mimicked whatever biologic life it came in contact with. And you open the movie with watching this husky or Malamute running across a desolate frozen land being chased by a couple guys in a helicopter.
Okay. Interesting.
Oh, so apparently the 2010 version was supposed to be the prequel, which took place at the other station.
Yep. Okay.
But yeah, the special effect, they used a lot of computer graphics in the 2010 one, but you lose a good bit. You lost enough that the 82 version is better.
Sometimes when you have less technology, you can do so much more. I mean,
you got to be more creative that way, and and again, it's
more about storytelling than the
You could do computer effects good.
You can, but
yeah.
And I mean, and the 82 things, it did have practical effects. They were good for the period, but it is very dated now.
Well, yeah, but at the same time,
you can go too far with computer effects and lose it too. And I think that's what kind of like the
great
new
example
thing did.
A good example of that would be like Star Wars. A lot of the 5, 6, and 7 was good for its time, but a lot of things they had to make do with.
4, 5, 6. Yeah, the original trilogy. The first couple revisions that Lucas did, okay, great, you cleaned up those things, and then he just started going too far.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
also one of the things where I talk about going too far with the effects, because there were some of them he did when he did the remasters where he added computer effects, but either the computer stuff really wasn't there yet, so it didn't make it look good. If you could have,
Yeah.
that is true. Hard agree on that one.
Yeah.
Well, it's like I remember too, like, you know, I grew up on the ones from the original ones had been out for several years, so I watched them over and over and over and over again. And so when you see the digitally remastered one, and all of a sudden Jabba the Hutt is just it's not the same character, and you're like, I feel like I'm having a Mandela effect thing going on here because what happened? Like, it's the same movie, it's the same, like, up to a certain point, and then all of a sudden it's like, am I just remembering this wrong? It took me years to realize that there's a original version with a dude in it, and that it was later edited in to have Jabba the Hutt as a big blob or
well,
whatever.
that original one with the dude was actually cut. It was added back in with the special edition with the effects added, where they basically put the computer-generated Jabba over the.
Are we talking the scene in the hangar?
Yeah.
Where he goes and Harrison Ford goes and he steps
and
on,
walks around. Yeah.
But in the original episode 4, though, that scene was cutting room floor. It never made it into the actual theater. So.
Well, because remember, I never saw the original in theater. I saw it when it was, you know, it had already been many years.
Yeah. Well, no, and that was the thing is the first versions I saw were the original VHS versions, which were the theatrical versions, and there was something about the dated veneer of it that actually worked for the film. And that's why I said the first couple, the remaster, and then the THX remaster, and then the visual remaster, the first one. Okay, you did good, George. You cleaned up some stuff. You made it look better. You used a little more of the current stuff mixed in. Okay, good. And then he started with the special editions and started adding stuff, and it's like, just stop.
Right.
It really did look like a money grab.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I mean, yeah, I can see that, but to me, it just seemed like he has a something in his head that he's trying to match it to, and that whatever that image is keeps changing.
Well, so at the same time, we can pose this question this way to the resident artist here. Hey, Karis, what happens if you keep touching up a painting?
You end up with a painting that is too busy, too overdone, and you've likely passed the point at which it was actually good.
I can see that.
Yeah. And the true, in my opinion, the true mark of a well seasoned and capable artist is knowing
the creativity.
Yeah, knowing when to stop.
Yep. Knowing editing. Editing is one of the hardest things, and people do not give it enough credit.
In photography, a common thing is to overdo saturation, overdo contrast. Everything just ends up overdone.
Yeah, a lot of times, yeah. Hard agree.
Yeah, but yeah, and so now we've sparked quite the discussion in the live chat with the Star Wars with Jabba, because Jabba didn't come in until Jedi. No, what Jabba was mentioned all throughout. He just didn't end up on screen until Return of the Jedi. when you look at the original releases. So yeah, it gave that plausibility, and yeah, that cutting room floor scene should have stayed there.
It could have been added, but they needed better. When they released the remastered A New Hope, the computer imaging wasn't quite there yet.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because that was the problem with that. Because really, the Java scene could have worked, but if you kind of pay attention to it,
like that closely.
there's not. You don't have to get really that close to it. It doesn't take that much attention, but like the shadowing and stuff isn't right with Java. Like he doesn't really fit in the environment. You can tell he's just been
added in,
slapped on top of whatever's on screen.
Well, I would have to counter that with it shows perhaps a bit of lack of skill of those who are putting him in. I mean, if you can't match his lighting and shadow to his environment, that's not necessarily caused by it being computer generated. That may be just a lack of skill or vision on the part of those who are doing the work.
Well, it's a bit of both.
Well, I'm thinking of like what computer graphics were doing elsewhere at the time. It was actually really good for what they were doing in computer imaging at the time, but it just wasn't there yet for like what they were actually trying to do with it, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, and that's where I see where you're coming from. There is that evaluation of the artist side to it, but at the same time, a lot of artists can be limited by what they have available to them, and it's not often, but it can be. And in this case, yeah, computer graphics at the time were not what they were even just a year later. Once they became a more viable option for the film industry, that's when we started to see the dramatic improvements of the quality and the realism that we currently have from it.
I mean, as good as, for example, as good as Jurassic Park, their first Jurassic Park movie was visually, it has some of the same issues. The technology wasn't quite there yet for that.
Yeah.
They needed a lot more computing power than they had at the time.
That's funny.
I could definitely see a duck fighting a dog. I could see a duck in some parts of the world walking into a pub. The downing a pint, though, I'd have to see video. Holy crap, there's video.
There's a video. Oh my gosh.
And it's not piss water he's drinking.
No, it's a real proper brewing. Yeah.
I'm actually having problems. I don't think that they should be just holding it down there for them. I think that's not ethical.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. Oh, it is a pet duck. It's not a wild duck. Okay. New wrinkle to it, still not. Yeah.
I mean, they at first framed it as an impromptu visit by a duck. So.
Yeah.
Right. Like, that's what I thought it would. Or, like, maybe it would be somebody else's pet duck and it just happened to stumble along and do these things. But it seems like they trained it to do it. And that's...
Oh, you know, Anamorphic Mind brings up a great point back to the whole criticism of Star Wars. The adding of Jabba makes the shootout in the bar useless. Jabba sent a minion to get Han, so why is Jabba in the hangar to begin with?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And you know what?
Oh.
I think this is a great thing to end it on tonight. Yes. Everyone look at the puppers saying good night to everybody. It is after midnight here, and I have a feeling the conversation's going to keep going. We're just going to do it off air, so bye-bye, fuckers.
Bye, puppy.
Bye.
Later.